Welcome everybody to the Town of Queens town meeting for, what is tonight? The 25th of September. If you will join me for the pledge to begin this meeting.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Two announcements for tonight. Evening on the Green concert on the 1st of October is Joseph Ishikawa at 6 p.m. at Riverfront Park. And there is another one on the 3rd. It's Night Train, also playing at 6 at Riverfront. Approval of minutes. Everyone got the minutes for September 11th and 15th. You had a chance to review them. I'll make a motion to accept them into the record.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Department reports. We'll start with the supervisor's report, as per usual. For supervisor's report for August 2025, general fund, $251,071.45 balance forward. Receipts of $267,286.69. Disbursements of $162,933.17. Balance of $355,424.97. With an I-class earned interest this month of $11,655.62. Consolidated fund balance forward is $662.53. Receipts of $1,944.04. Disbursements of $1,947.79 for a balance of $658.78. Our town balance forward $25,990.38 with receipts of $52,912.73, disbursements of $23,188.13, balance of $55,714.98, earned interest of $5,523.42. Highway part-town balance forward is $228,828.45, receipts of $13.87, disbursements of $48,710.82, a balance of $180,131.50, with earned interest of $2,050.88. Highway town-wide balance forward, $12,364.94 with receipts of $3.99, no disbursements, a balance of $12,368.93 with earned interest of $253.29. Sewer balance forward, $24,055.48 with receipts $148,939.02, disbursements of $121,543.53, balance of $51,450.97 with earned interest of $1,281.04. Trust and agency is balance forward at $30,049.99 with receipts of $233,067.01, disbursements of $235,216.01 with a balance of $27,909.99. No police forfeitures. Capital projects balance forward is $4,261.06. Receipts of 4 cents. No disbursements. And a balance of $4,261.10 with earned interest of $112.44. Section 8 HUD balance forward $16,452.02. Receipts of $68,556.15. Disbursements of $75,173.81, balance of $9,834.36. Total reconciled balance is $697,746.58 of the total earned interest this month of $20,876.69. Savings account for Grove Cemetery is $928.67. Interest earned is $109.49. Queens Hollow Cemetery, $546.80. Interest of $10.90. Alcove Cemetery, $320.97 with interest earned at $51.10. Collateral coverage for the Bank of Greene County and the National Bank of Coxsackie are both covered by FDIC for $250,000 and collateralized at the Bank of Greene County for $544,491.95. Night class earned interest withdrawals from A General, $250,000, 50 from B, for a total of $300,000 for bills. The deposit of $100,000 was for SS. Village payments came in, so we invested it. Make a motion to accept the supervisor's report.
I'll second that.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Town clerk. If you
$50. For sewer rents, we had $53,945.71 for a total local shares remitted of $57,248.72. New York State Ag and Markets received a check for $36. New York State Department of Health received one for $112.50. New York State DEC received one for $4,285.04. For a total non-local revenues of $4,433.54, equaling a total state, county, and local revenue of $61,682.26.
Thank you, Candace. I make a motion to accept the town clerk's monthly report for August 2025.
second discussion. Make a motion to. Sorry.
Sorry.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Chief Ryan, how you doing? And
Still with me.
nice. All right. Thanks.
So thank you, and for the month of August 2025, the Queens Police Department responded to 867 calls for service. Result of that was 23 criminal arrests for the month. We effected 232 traffic stops throughout the town, issued 70 UTTs. We also effected 2 DWI arrests for the month and investigated 3 property damage auto accidents also for the month. I want to mention that our new officer, Michael Galliard, has graduated his own 5 academy. He's currently under field training for 6 weeks. He's doing very well, so he's been a nice addition to the department. He is a full-time officer. And I also wanted to bring up to the board and give this to, we're published in the Facebook page, is some information about e-bikes and scooters and two-wheel vehicles that are being operated. It's no different here than anywhere else in the state or the country for that matter. There are a lot of different types of e-bikes which are electrically powered, but there are a lot of certain conditions on each one of them that require helmets, registrations, licenses. Most people don't know. Also, I'd just remind everybody when they read this diagram, which describes the types of e-bikes, bicycles, that e-bikes, motorcycles, mopeds are all classified by the top speed, not what they sell them as. So if you have an e-bike that's electric and it can do 50 miles an hour, it's the top. It requires a lot of other safety factors, licensing and registration. So again, it's no one's real fault. It's an exploding industry. People do not follow the rules or don't even know what the rules are. So we'll publish this on our website so people can refer to it.
Thank you, thanks.
Okay.
Make a motion to accept the August 2025 Town of Queens Police Department report as submitted.
Chief, were you done with your report?
I am. Okay.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good evening, everyone. Building Department report for August of 2025. Permits issued were 12. Certificates of occupancy or compliance were 4. 5 operating permits, 1 stop work order. Fire incident notifications, we had 1. Fire inspections on multi-dwellings were 2. Fire inspections on commercial buildings were 13. Fire inspection on a vacant building, we did 1. We had 4 building complaints, 34 building inspections, one permit renewal. Building fees for the month were $2,012.50. We had 1 lot line adjustment. Zoning fees were $150. We had 2 property searches, and miscellaneous fees were $100.
Make a motion to accept the building department report.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you, Jason. Thank you.
Good evening, board.
Thank you.
I will be doing 2 months. You gotta do July and August. So let's start with July here. So we're doing July of 2025. Total flow was 12,193,000 gallons. Our average flow was 393,000 on a daily basis. We removed 18 tons of sludge to the landfill at 13%. We passed our BODs removal 97%. We had just over 2 inches of rain for the month of July. But for the month of July, we had spent $56,923.82, and the last 2 items are just legal stuff for the grant money and stuff like that. The 36,000 right there for that month of July. Leachate still running, and just to give you a little heads up on that, we had out of Leachate just had a gentleman come out and look at the press. It's a gravity plate settling machine that we use for processing out there. It's never been looked at. A lot of stuff was, a lot of the mixer parts we don't use because we do things differently now. So I had him come out and look at it and see if it was anything that we needed to address and everything like that. So he was just out, so I'm waiting for quotes on stuff, but it seems like everything looks pretty good. Just the back end of it, we need to change. It's got rust and holes in it, and we can buy those parts and we can just cut it off and put another one on. So that looks good. And he said, and I didn't know this, and I've been there 18 years, but no one's ever said that we had to clean that machine. There's like slides in it, and he says they're white actually, and he says you need to clean those. So this is the first time. So like I said, so he just came out. So we got a lot of things that we're just gonna fix out there a little bit. Not anything really super big, I hope, but we're gonna spend the money that we have allocated for out there this year to get things fixed.
And is that something that you can do in-house, Keith, you and your?
Yeah, I can cut it off if we got, I sure want somebody. I mean, I can use a MIG welder a little bit, but maybe the guy at the garage or maybe someone from the village that, we can get a portable one there and just weld it, or if we have to reach out to, somebody local that welds.
Okay.
It's something I think we can do in-house.
Okay.
And everything. But, we just, like I said, I just had them out there this past week.
I didn't get to speak to you today, but how's return pump 3?
Well, that's another thing. At the plant yesterday, Tuesday morning, go in the plant, walk in, notice there's no return pumps working. So we have 3 of them and that we can use. We rotate weekly on which ones we use, but the center one is out. The motor is going bad, so I sent it out to see if we can get it fixed and that. But then the drive, there's 3 drives for each one of those. When I went in that Tuesday morning, the drive burned out in it, I think. So what I'm in the process right now doing is I reached out to them. We have 3 of them. The middle pump number 2, that drive is good, but the pump is out of service. So I'm going to try to take that drive and hook number 3 pump up to it so that we at least have 2 pumps. Because right now with the rain, if we had high flows, we wouldn't be able to run that other pump, and we need that for another tank, the other 2 secondary tanks that we have there. So I'm gonna get into a little bit of that later, because after I get done with my reports, I wanna walk through from the head of the plant to the back of the plant because I know the grant money and stuff. I haven't really said anything really. I advocated for it, but just doesn't seem like everybody's on board. So I just wanted to go from the head of the plant to the end of the plant, tell you what I see wrong and some of the costs that's gonna take to fix it, just after I get done my reports. So we'll move on to August.
So before we move on, Keith, so this return plant, number 3, number 2, and the drives, you said you had somebody come down?
Well, I
came
just talked to them on the phone and everything, so I reached out to people to see, because these are all 20 years old. These were all put in 20 years ago, 2004, somewhere around there, 2005. So when I reached out to them and talked to them about, like, I always thought maybe we could just do the volute or just the impeller, because I noticed over the 18 years that I've been there, I like to turn up, see what the pump volume does. So over the course of that time, when I first started, they were doing 660 a minute. Well, I noticed that now they're doing like 620, 615. So they lost their velocity of what they could pump. So we're starting to see the wear and tear on them. So I was reaching out to them to see, but they said they're 20 years old. They don't know if there's something, you may have to replace completely, even the drives, because we have 1 drive burn out. So, we got 2 left, so. So I just, that's why I brought that up. I just wanted to walk through it later, but that's what's wrong with that. It's, like I said, I'm gonna try to rewire that drive with the other pump so that we have 2 pumps. Right now, we only have 1. So I just want tomorrow, I'm gonna hopefully work on that. I just had some other things I had to get done.
Okay.
But
So you're starting to notice issues and you're reaching out to companies to get replacement parts and what the cost
Yes.
is and everything else.
Oh, yeah, definitely, because like I said, I just happened to like go in there yesterday morning, saw that. I always thought it was the pump, so I was like, okay, that's fine, but I reached in, looked inside, and I saw the drive was out. I was like, oh, that's not good. Pump going bad is one thing, but drive a little more expensive.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, great.
right, so we'll go on to August, if July is all right with you guys. Right. So July of 2025, we had a flow of 13,027,000 gallons come through at a monthly average flow of 420,000 gallons. We removed 72 tons of sludge to the landfill for that month. Our removal rate was 97 to 93. We had 3.23 inches of rain in the month of August. And our monthly bills for the month of August were $19,756.25.
Make a motion to accept the sewer report for July and August of 2025.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Well, we're about to get into it. All in favor?
Aye.
Reports are accepted.
So here, I just wanted to go through, like, from the head of the plant, starting at the first bar rack, the lower bar rack. It comes in off the street, comes into a bar rack, there's just steel racks, they're about 1 inch wide. We used to take not like a rake, but kind of like that, but a hoe, kind of just small. We'd rake that out, put in a 5-gallon tank. So 7 years ago, they came in and put that fine screen in. We're in the Northeast. So they put this fine screen that's got water in it and everything like that. It's outside and exposed to the weather. First year, it froze up. So we spent that whole summer we got wood and we built a building around it. Put some tin on it, put some 2-inch foam boards, the foam boards that you put in your house, put those in the walls, and then put shower walls, screw shower walls on the inside because there's water, moisture, and everything. But we stole power from the outside of the building on the pole. So in there we have lights and an outlet, and there's no heat out there. We have it has a heating tape on it, but that only works so good. So it's exposed to weather. So that building needs to be upgraded. So that's one of the things. We should have ventilation, heat, and should have floor drains in it, because when you're there, that stuff leaks out of the 55-gallon drum, and it's not, that building wasn't designed for that, so some of it seeps out underground. So that's that. So we need do a little work in there and stuff like that. Then we go into like metering pit. When we have high flows in meter pit, we don't use that metering pit for DEC regulations. We use our effluent because the flow is too high and it floods the pit. So it's inaccurate. So not that you can do anything about that, but that's just the way it works. Then we go to the wet well. The wet well is where the water comes in, it fills up, and then the pumps suck out of that. That's roughly 15 feet deep. The ladders on it are pretty much falling off the wall, so it's not very safe to go down in there. There's no ventilation system, no lights. They all fell off the walls. Everything's just for corrosion. And those are 50 years old. There's also a sensor in there that was hanging off a pole, but that fell off. So we just got it wrapped around something, shining into the water. I'm not sure what it goes to. I think it goes to one of the flow meters coming into the plant. Not quite positive, because when I get to the next stage is that we have the pump station where we just did all the pumps and then all that stuff. Well, that's 20 feet down, confined space, but that has no ventilation system in it, so we need a new ventilation system in there. Plus, it also has a flow meter control panel. It's a Foxborough, and I don't even know if it works, but because in the past of every job they've done, they never remove stuff that they replace. So this is in there. I don't know if it works or not, or if it's hooked anything. So, but it's there, and it leaks sometimes when we have high flows through the gasket. But that's 50 years old. So then we go into the upper bar rack, which is the same as the lower one, and that. So if during rain events and we have wet weather and we bypass the fine screen, we have to pull stuff out of that bar rack. Then we have the grit screws, take any sediment that falls out, we get rid of it down in the pipe gallery. Then we go to the aeration tanks. The water flows over to the aeration tanks. We have 4 of them. They have a distribution box in the middle. I'm not sure if that went in 2006 or 7 or if it was 12, but there's 6 gates on those and they're all rotted. They're stainless steel from the corrosion. We just cleaned 2 of the aeration tanks. We have to take the grates out that we walk on and put in other gates in between, behind those, and put sandbags in to hold it so that we can go in and clean those. So those gates need to be replaced. So we got working on getting those gates, prices for those gates. But they're mechanical, they're screw gates, which are it takes about 20 minutes to turn those. And then it takes a little longer once your arms get tired and burned out. With slide gates would probably work better for us. But we'll see what they can do when we get to that phase. So after aeration tanks, we go to our secondaries, which we rebuilt back in 2000 when Larry Conrad was here. So I think it was around 2012, 2014. I was there, so we replaced everything in those. Those are fairly brand new. They're only 10 years old, maybe, or so. So all the mechanisms in there. We don't use those only in rain events. Then we get to the round clarifier, the big round clarifier, 200,000 gallons. The center of that is bad. We've had it break, we had bearings break, we fix it, but they're still kind of stuck in there. Sometimes they get jammed up and everything, but that leaked oil too. So back when, I go back a couple administrations to Phil Crandall, when I went and told him when it was broke then, it was 60 grand to fix. He said, we don't have that money. Do the best you can. So me and the mechanic, Jason, that was there at that time, tore it apart. We were able to get the bearings and seals and get it up and running. But it still leaks a little oil and stuff, and there's still probably parts laying on the bottom of that picks up every now and then. It gets jammed up in the gears. But right now, that's 80 grand to fix. And that's not counting the crane service, because we'd have to hire a crane service around here to pick the catwalk off, pull the center out. They rebuild it, come back, set it all back in. You know, and that's 80 grand. Then we go to the UV system. UV system is, right now, we're gonna repair it for 33 grand. And that should get us through the next 5 years or so. They could do the upgrade, that's 140 grand. It's a complete new system and everything like that. So that's that. And then we go to when we go to the roll-off building, our press building, where we dewater it, press it together, and it comes out as a cake. We hopefully more like coffee grounds and stuff like that. That press building was great. A little, it's a little tricky to run. It's a one-man job all day long. You're constantly out there. So our new guy Jonathan is there working on it, and he's got to run it pretty good. But it's an all-day affair. That's another thing. We're in the Northeast. That roll-off, that stuff can't get wet because it's got to go to landfill. It's got to be as dry as possible. They put a conveyor belt outside of the building, and we have a roll-off that's right there. And that's not supposed to get water in, snow in it, or nothing. And here we are out there with a press that can't get no water in it. So at that time, we built some board, took 2x4s and built a top to it, 2 8-foot boxes with that styrofoam on it, with a tarp over it, and we just slid down side to side, and we pushed the roll off with the truck at the time, so we could fill it because the ground it dropped straight down. But that wasn't feasible because of the weather, so we ended up buying a carport, and the carport goes like this way, north and south. Really, it needs to be east and west, so we can push the roll off. Right now, we spend all day long as the stuff comes out. We rake that stuff from the back of the roll off to the front of the roll off all day long.
Is that the sludge, Keith?
Yeah,
That's
that's out in the,
yeah,
that's
we
in
have
the
to get
roll
rid
off
of.
and everything. So that building needs to go the other way, so we don't have to spend man hours just doing that all day long. Because we could just let it fill up, then take the skid steer and just push it, and then fill it up. But right now, we just spend all day doing that. So those are some of the things that we need to address it, and it's probably more than 3.3 million. So I just want an emphasis that maybe I don't cry enough or yell enough about it, but it definitely needs to be addressed. So I don't know where we are on it, but the money would be gratefully used here. So that's where I'm at that.
You're talking about the grants?
Yes, definitely, and everything, but I'd much rather have you guys come down and walk through and see it, because even on top of that, I had a company come in and check each tank, because the concrete's starting to break and everything, they are 1 foot wall thick, but, they need to be addressed and everything, so the 2 digesters were $92,000, it's kind of like rhino coating, and it's good for 100 years. The 4 aeration tanks, they were $94,000 a piece. Or no, not the aeration tanks, sorry. Secondaries, the 2 secondaries are $94,000. The big round clarifier is $97,000 per coating. So this is where we're at with those, but that's not, like our effluent goes out of the building. On the end of the building, there's a 20-inch pipe going out. That's got cracks in it where that's all bolted onto the wall and stuff like that, just in the pipe out in the grit room. I just noticed a big 2-foot piece of concrete is gonna fall off the ceiling in there. So there's things that need to be addressed and everything. We've done some stuff like the roof, the heating, the windows, doors, and stuff like that. But now we need to concentrate on the process, making our jobs a little easier and more efficient for the taxpayers and stuff like that. But, that's where we're at, So I just wanted to address that, because I feel as though like we're not getting anywhere on it. And I just wanted to make sure that people knew that we really do need this. It's not like, but we do need the work to get done and stuff. Makes it easier. And then what happens if that stuff breaks? Well, DEC can fine us up to $35,500 a day for our violations. That's what they can do, but they don't. It can violate, or we can fine us for it, so.
Well, you're essentially talking about phase 2, which is going to be tens of millions of dollars. So, you saw the issues that we had with the 3.3 to do phase 1. And I did see Ty down there doing minor maintenance at Division. How was today's rain event?
We already got inch of rain, just from the, just in like a 24-hour span, we got an inch of rain. Plant's doing good, because like I said, we just drained those 2 aeration tanks and everything, so we had some, and then one of them filled from the back because the flows are up high, but we look good, nothing, that way.
I would, I know Mr. Donnelly's been down there several times, and I was down there over the summer with my kids.
Yeah.
I dragged them along. But when you mention this, if you don't go down there and see it, it's hard to picture it. So when you were saying it, I could picture in my head, oh yeah, like this place and this place, and it does. I'll say this, Keith, you do a great job with you and Tyler and the crew do a great job in keeping it clean and keeping it running. So I appreciate that. But it is a pretty neat setup. So if you ever get time, go down and Keith will show you around. And but you know, you can see when you actually see it in person the things he's talking about. Just wear and tear over the years of something that's always wet, something that's always, you know, getting stuff thrown through it and chemicals put in it and this and that. So it does need some work and some upkeep for sure.
Yeah, because in the roads, like all that road grime and stuff like that gets into the system even too, you know, so you got, grime, the blacktop, anything like that. I mean, I've seen 2x4s come through, 18 inches long. Where the heck did that come from? It's in the bar rack, But, we get everything. If you can flush it down the toilet, we see it. That's just basically how it is, and everything. So, it's not for that, but that's where people hide stuff, Get rid of that.
So Keith, if the return pumps impeller blades are deteriorating to the point where 650 gallons per minute turns into 600 gallons per minute, do we, how you can't get the impeller blades for the lift stations? Can we get impeller blades for?
That's what he's checking on today. I just talked to him today and everything and that, and seeing if he could get some, because he was like, we could, because you have to do the blue too, which is the base, and everything, because that has the wear, because the motor sits on top of all that, and then the impeller sits inside the root, so there's wears on the bottom and everything like that. So he said, like, you can go, we're replacing the bottoms and everything, get all new ones. He says if the motors are good, he goes, and then that's just basically how your maintenance plan is, and everything. So, we grease and stuff like that, and change the mechanical seals in them when they start to leak and stuff like that. But that's all we can do, But he said like I sent the one out, so that was making noise. The other ones weren't making noise, but that one was making noise, so I sent it out to see if we could get it rebuilt.
So we could afford the $60,000 years ago. So this sounds very expensive. All these pieces that are breaking that we have to replace.
Well, they just add up, yes.
It doesn't seem feasible. How are we going to pull these?
Because everything's 20. That whole return process, the pumps, everything,
Right.
and the control panel were put in 2004. So we're 24 years, 21 years old.
So just a cursory look at your budget.
I talked to the manufacturer, the guy, he was like, you should be happy they get 20 years out of it. He said, but
Right.
you're at the limit with them and everything, but to have 3 of them last 20 years, he says, yeah, that's good.
So how do we
That's
pay
what-
for it?
That's what everybody says, when I say things are this old or that old, they're like, wow, you're really lucky that you got that long out of them.
Right.
So, I mean, just the time, like I said, in 2000, they did a lot of this work, in the early 2000s and stuff like that, so it's just got to the phase where all that stuff is starting to wear out. Because before that, everything was from 1970, pretty much, I mean, like I told you, there was 4 big concrete with pumps on them. Now we got 1 concrete with 1 pump, with 3 pumps on it, where we had 4 with just 1 pump on each one for the return pumps.
Didn't we just replace a pump for 89,000?
We didn't replace it. We ordered it.
No, that's just for the lift station. But we just did our main pumps at the plant. We just paid but I think the base plates were $27,000 a piece, and the motors were like $6,000. So, so that's what we paid for the bases. A base over $27,000 a piece. It took us 18 months to get those.
So with your 18 years of experience, where has money ever gone into?
And what I say is, like, we've always tried to get grant money and that, but we've always been told that we could go after the tax. This is what I've been told by my supervisors, not my supervisors, but my bosses ahead of me, like Larry Breedlove and stuff like that. They would always say, when we apply for grant money, because the rents were lower than what the national average is, they said you can go back after the taxpayers. That's what I was told, but that's what, that was
Did
just.
they say where they got that information from?
No. But like, back when I came in 2008, the village paid 84.6% of our thing. And then it went to 60%. And then, then it was 75, then it was 70, and then it was 65. Between the village and the town, it jumped around. And in those years where they were trying to get more money, we didn't get money, so we fell, we ran out of money. I can remember like 2 years into this, Larry Breedlove told me that we were out of money for like the last 2 months. because they lowered the rates and everything, think they were gonna, get more money out of the building.
So,
Over the years, it's just been like that, election year comes around, they lower them by $20, just to make it look good, but those $20 hurt the years,
so Keith, I really appreciate the information. One of the things I'm gonna say is, based upon my calculations, this is my 42nd monthly meeting that we've had that you've presented. There's probably a couple of meetings where you weren't here or something and a report didn't get mentioned. But I've been sitting here for 42 months. And at no point in time during those 42 months have you ever stood at the podium and said, here is a list of things that I think is wrong. And I've specifically asked you over those years and months, where are we with the sewer? Are we in dire straits? Are we?
I don't remember that, but you also been on the board for 4 years and you never stepped into the sewer plant once, so where are you going with this?
Because even if all I'm saying.
Don't wanna come after me.
All I'm saying, I'm not coming after you. I'm just saying that you're my subject matter expert, right? You're down there, you're the chief operator.
Now I am, yes.
So I have to, you've been the chief operator since I've been on the board for 42 months. So I have to trust when you're standing at the podium and giving a monthly report that you're telling me if you are noticing things going wrong or if things have to be replaced, that you're telling us that as a board, and it doesn't have to be every month because everything, something doesn't happen every month. Maybe it does, but chances are it doesn't. But all I'm saying is for 42 months that I've sat here in this seat, I've never had you say to me, not privately,
I don't do that.
So I appreciate you.
Don't do my job.
No. But you also give a monthly report every month. So I certainly appreciate you standing there tonight and telling us a whole grand list of what you think needs to be done, and to know that you're actively, searching out and trying to figure out, can parts be replaced? What's it going to cost for parts to be replaced? Because up until now, I don't know.
No, and I don't do that. I just fix what we have.
But I think you have to, as the chief operator.
No, I just fix, within my budget, I just fix what I can. But I've asked all summer long to fix the UV system, fix the thing. So you can only say so much, and then you just stop saying it, but no one's ever worked, or no one's ever put any money into the sewer plant. So, you just get used to fixing and working with what you have, no one comes down and says and looks around and just stops in and periodically. The last person that did that as a board member was Kenny Burns. He would stop in monthly or call. Is there anything I can do to help?
I also, as a board member, I also have to trust that the liaison is checking in with you and reporting back during monthly liaison reports. I know the ins and outs of the highway garage. Why? Because I'm the highway liaison. So I check in with the highway superintendent daily, weekly, monthly. I know when trucks are breaking. When I come in and I see a bill for parts and stuff for a truck that has to be fixed, I already knew that truck went down.
I get
what I mean? And I'm not sitting here I'm just saying I appreciate you standing here tonight and giving us this long laundry list of things that you are recognizing that are starting to fail and are in need of repair, and that you're actively going out and finding out prices. Because if we don't have that, there's nothing we can do. I just have to sit here and say, okay, well, things are getting old, because now things are 4 years older than they were when I first got on the board. So I do know that there's wear and tear. I do know that parts get, used and are older and everything else. But unless you're telling me this is what I need, I don't know. So, thank you for.
So my experience, Keith, is 100% different. My experience by going down in the first 4 days of being in office and taking a tour and seeing every single thing that you showed me, and me coming back and telling the board is how I remember this. It's the reason why we hired LaBerge. It's the reason why we're doing studies. It's the reason why we are reaching out for grants to do phase 1 and phase 2. This project has been going on for months and months and months. We've been working unbelievably hard together as a board with you. That's how I'm remembering this. That's what we've been doing to solve these problems that have been here for decades. And I walked through the plant with you 4 days into my administration and countless other times going down there just to see when we hired John Rice, to see how everybody was doing, how's everybody fitting in, because that's how, and the information always came to the board, always came to the board. We,
I don't have that list that he just presented. I don't have that list.
Right.
I just made it up there.
That's why Steve Adams was there doing a preliminary engineering report for the last, 4 or 5 months? And we would come back and we've discussed this countless times. And we've all known, and you've said it, you've articulated this more times than I care to remember, actually, that the plant is falling apart. And we were told, why are you, is this, I'm not an alarmist. Why are you ringing these bells? It's not catastrophic. We're not going to have failure. Everything's fine and dandy. We went back and forth. If that was the case in 2020, why did they go out for the grant in the first place? This has been known. Nobody can say otherwise. And thank you for bringing it forward, because it has to, at some point, and now that things are falling apart, in real time, the taxpayers are going to pay for it, because we are not.
Grants, right?
We didn't apply for the grants because we didn't get a majority of the board.
No, that was a bond resolution.
The CDBG, we're reaching out for. The WIA, that's going to be rejected most likely.
But you still applied for the grant, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So hopefully that project will move forward for phase 1. So phase 2, everybody needs to realize that that's going to be even scarier. That's going to be $10, $14 million. We don't know. So, let's all just start preparing for that, because this project has got to be done. And the sewer system, we built the police department for the last 2 years, and the sewer needs to be built for the next 2 years. It's got to be the focus.
I just want the place to be in good shape when I leave, that's all. And for the residents, that's all. I got 3 more years left, probably. I'll be 65, so hopefully I can retire, who knows? But I wanted to make sure that the plant is in good shape and we are ready for the next, couple of years.
Speaking of, do you have some sort of succession plan? Are you putting together a succession plan?
I'm hiring a 4th person, just because it's gonna take him 3 years to get his license, so that if I decide to leave in 3 years, there'll at least be 3 people there.
Do you need a special license to be the chief operator?
Yes, you will have to take a test.
Okay.
If the state makes one up. That's what happened through COVID. They didn't do the testing, so they were just like,
So was your license through New York State?
Yes.
Okay.
You have to go through New York State. Yeah.
Okay.
A license over and above what the other folks down there will have.
Yes. Yeah, you just got management and years of,
And you have that license?
Tom Farrell, the state.
Okay. Yeah, because I think that's important, because I heard at the last meeting, that, you were looking at, 2 or 3 years, and I got thinking, like, do you have a succession plan? And if you don't,
I didn't want to say, okay, I leave in 3 years, and then you're got to go out and look for somebody, to catch Jonathan Rice, the guy that we just picked up, that has a license and not have to send him to school was key for us, just to eliminate those 3 years of experience and already have a license and everything like that. That was good, and he's a good guy. He shows up every day, he's there early, and everything, so, and he knows his stuff, so it's a good fit, just like now, it's just like I just pick it, I'm just trying to, I got it down to like the last 2 guys that I'm gonna choose from, and I'm gonna pick one of those here. And because Ty is gonna, his girlfriend's gonna have a baby, he'll be out of work for a little while and everything throughout the, November, December, as long as he can.
so I didn't realize you were looking for another position.
Well, I mentioned it only because of the time frame. I wasn't thinking about it. I was just gonna get one person, but then I was like, I said something to Steve. I said, I'm gonna be leaving here in 3 years. Would it be smart, because we got so many applications, if we not look for a 4th person?
And I believe we put it in the budget for your 3rd.
I think it's in the budget for the 3rd, but for a 4th?
I was talking to Regina today, and because she's got a seasonal worker and a floating secretary. So I said, well, what if we didn't do either one of those and got a fourth person who would be able to do it and everything? So she thought it would be possible with what you have in the budget.
I haven't seen the finalized tentative budget.
Neither have I. I'm just saying, I just asked
So I
her the
can't
question
comment.
today. That's all. Just to kind of have some idea of whether or not it was feasible. You know, because it would be smart to get someone, because it takes 3 years, you know, to start now, you know, and everything, and hopefully, you know, it'll last, you know, he wants to stay, you know, but we gotta get him in the door and start training him. It takes 2 years before they go to school. It'll be another year after that to get his license.
So has that position been approved? And are we actively?
No, I think it was just an informal question,
Okay.
conversation.
Yeah, I haven't, like, that's why I said I wasn't going forward with it, but I have people that I'm interested in, but I was waiting to find out whether or not it's feasible for us in our budget to do it or not, you know? Because I'm thinking 3 years down the road, it'd be nice to have some, you know, and not leave the town, you know, looking for somebody that.
Who's the liaison for sewer?
I am.
So you're abreast of what he's talking about?
Absolutely. I talk to Keith all the time. That's why I said I missed you this morning because I was in a meeting. There's a lot of unscheduled meetings that happen in the supervisor's office.
If I had to, I'd stop and make sure I got let you know. But I called you the other day when the drives went and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know. That's why I like to keep in contact with you because God only knows.
I am. I just want to, you know, I want to just, you know, when I leave, I want the town to be in good shape at the plant and as far as employees. That's all I'm looking to do.
We'll keep trying to fund the project as best we can.
I just wanted, you know, I just wanted to address some of the stuff if you didn't notice or anything like that about the plant, you know. I mean, like I said, you know, it's just, you go to work and you do your thing and it's, because things don't work, you found another way to get around that and you do it. As long as, you know, my thing is, you know, we fix it if we can, you know. That's why I said I'm looking at drives, but in the meantime, I'm gonna get that other one to work so that we have a backup. That's all.
Thanks, Keith. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I certainly won't try to top that. Good evening, everyone. Question, Supervisor, is that in the budget for 2026 to hire another guy?
No, it was an informal conversation. It just sounded like that he had with Regina today.
Oh, okay. Because it's about, like I presented, when I asked for an extra guy, it's about 75 grand. So
Mhm.
I think if it was in the budget for next year, you guys would have known about it. So.
Right.
Okay. So I got two parts tonight. I'll start off with my report, August 2025. Town hall number 1, nothing to report. Town hall number 2, nothing to report. And down at the new building, we're mowing and taking care of the weeds as it needs. We went out to the garage, placed the conveyor chain on truck C9. Again, it's one of the 2007 trucks. The chain was in dire need. Fabricated a blacktop drag box. If anybody's been out on the roads, the guys and the deputy came up with a new idea to put blacktop down. So we've been out spending a lot of money on blacktop. So they come, they put a box on the front of the skid steer, and they're doing a nice job loading all the roads that are some really bad models. We changed the oil on one of the police cruisers for the police department, and we're continuing to maintain the mowers, and we're getting to the end of that season. Chainsaws, weed whackers, again, it's a vicious thing that we do, but we keep them running. We're buying new ones, yada, yada, yada. The roadside mower, well, there's some maintenance going on that. Moving on to the roads, over on Buschendorf, there was a few driveway approaches that after we did the capital paving project, we missed a couple of them, so some people reached out. We went back, and we put the material down for the material backup on the shoulders and on a couple of the approaches. And the driveway approaches, so when you come by an overlay, if you don't put an approach in there, and depending on the angle, your car can hit it. It can be a kind of a wonky angle, if you will. So we try to back it up with some stone type material. Put a lot of blacktop on Gidney Hill. That was one of those rough guys. There's a ditch up there that we cleaned. We added some stone out here to the stone part of this town hall parking lot. I noticed a tripping hazard out there, so we wanted to We wanted to clean that up, and we put a little bit of blacktop here by the sidewalk, kind of a rough area here on the shoulder. Brush chipping and leaf bag pickup continues every week. We had a bunch of trees fall down on Lower Blossom Hill Road at night, so we've been being called out to get those. And we've been doing some shoulder backup and Vanderzee and Fuller Road. Mark's Drolleman's been in full swing, as I reported last month, mowing at the parks and cemeteries every week. No burials for the month of August at the cemeteries. Questions, comments, concerns? So the next part is I want to move on to some transparency and some communication issues with supervisor's office. I sent you guys an email after a few weeks ago, last meeting. It was brought to my attention by Regina that the parks account was overdrawn. Okay? And I said, geez, that's odd in September. Again, I have a one-way checkbook, right? All I do is deduct every day, every month. I just deduct. So I know exactly where I am. She said, you're overdrawn. I said, how can this be? So I said, well, she said, well, you got to move money. Where you got to move money from? And you guys passed a resolution to move money from personal services to parks contractual, if you remember. Okay. But anyway, the reason why I'm talking about this is because I sent you guys an email. Mr. Hotel responded by phone. Councilman Schmidt always responds. Didn't hear anything from Mike. Didn't hear anything from Linda. Certainly didn't hear anything from the supervisor. So I brought my email. Good afternoon, everyone. Please see the attachment regarding the parks contractual and parks equipment. The funds for the parks mower was purchased in April, was taken from the contractual account, .4, when it should have been taken from .2 equipment. This is why the parks account was shown overdrawn by $10,700. Okay? Then we transferred $2,500 from personal to, kind of put some money back in that fund because it was so far overdrawn. Now, you're the CFO, correct?
I am the CFO, Danny.
Okay. Regina works for you.
She does work
Sarah
for
works
her
for you.
department.
Sarah works for you.
Sarah's an accountant.
They work for you, they answer for you.
That's incorrect. That's a mischaracterization,
Well,
Superintendent.
who do they answer to?
They run their departments like you run your department. Do you answer to me?
Yeah, I do.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so have you filled out your capital assets yet?
I told you, I sent you an email.
Okay.
All right.
Well, the deadline was August 14th.
Oh, okay.
So this isn't a disciplinary board, so departments run their department the way that they do.
Mr. Baker's
Continue.
also an elected official.
Continue.
So, I get reports every month. Do you guys get monthly reports?
No.
You should. So, because the mower was purchased in April. The money was taken out in April. It's September. I went through my report and I found out the equipment still says $13,000. How can this be? We paid for the mower. We paid for the mower out of contractual, not out of equipment. Now, Regina's a lovely person, right? Well, who's checking Regina? You?
I am.
Okay.
Conversations all the
So
time.
we had a meeting and my name comes up and it says, well, the parks is overdrawn. Consequently, that ends up in somebody's living room that says, the highway guy doesn't know what he's doing. How can that be? You see where I'm going? So again, I send out emails to you guys, nobody responds. Linda Geraldson sends out machine guns emails. Mike Stott responded, I responded, have you responded?
I spoke to her on the phone, yes.
Why don't you respond? I mean, does anybody respond? It's crazy because when you were running, in one of your videos you said transparency and communication, it's foundational.
It is foundational.
Where is it? Where is it?
What are you talking about?
Where's the
Danny?
communication? Where's the response to the emails?
So this clerical error that you're talking about,
I sent you an email. I never got a single response.
was your question in the email?
How did this happen? Okay, thanks, Dan. Good job. Thanks, we'll look at it. Zippo, nothing, nada.
Right, so
Is that how we run? Is that how we
Regina
run the
took care of
town?
it. The problem was solved. The clerical error was solved.
By me?
Was it by you? Okay, so,
It was by me.
well, just to respond to you, Dan, that clerical error left our office as a .2 on the voucher. Regina, .2. Got here at the town clerk's office and was put into the MCSJ as a .4. .4. Clerical error. People make them all the time, Dan.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying they
Hey,
don't.
we're not gonna crucify the town clerk's office for making a clerical error,
I'm not
Dan.
saying that, but who
That's where the transparency is.
on the
Regina's
reconcile?
running her department, and she's running it damn fine. You're running your department, you're running it damn fine. Clerk's office is running their department, they're running it damn fine.
I would
There's lots of
caution you.
transparency,
I
because
would
we all
caution
talk,
you
and that's
on
how
your-
local government works.
Your tone is getting a little out of control, so.
Well, Dan, it feels like a political speech that you're
It's not a
making.
political speech. I send emails. Linda
You
Gerald
spoke to
sends
Regina. How
emails.
come you didn't get the same documents that I got? You were in the office, you reached out to her and said, help me with this problem, and she did, because she's the business.
Did you not see this email?
Again, your point about the email is moot, okay?
That's all I'm asking
The
is,
clerical error was solved
I didn't-
by the appropriate
I'm talking
department.
about communication.
Well, we're
When I
communicating.
send an email, I expect a respectful response from the leader of our town. If that's too much to ask, I'm sorry.
Okay, I think you're
Okay.
you're mischaracterizing what a supervisor's office, and I think that people in their departments need to know the boundaries of their department. A CFO, for example, is not an accountant and is not a business office manager. A CFO makes strategic decisions like, where are we gonna put town hall? Where's the money gonna come from? How are we gonna do a project if we don't have money? We have to reach out for grants. These are strategic decisions.
So who
that are
checks
made.
Regina's bookkeeping? Nobody?
The accountant.
Well,
These are
who checks her?
basic. So I think that there needs to be
Same account.
some sort of memo about how departments run.
I'm just saying,
Because I think it feels like people
You-
are crossing.
you as the CFO, before any of this stuff gets out, you should be double checking it. You-
That's not what a CFO does, Dan. And if you go back and read this, I actually wrote the message for the budget, the distinctions between CFOs, accountants, and business office managers, because people need to know
Very good.
how departments run. When I first got into office, I saw a sticky note on somebody's computer and it said, stay in your lane. And I thought, great, everybody is on board. They know what their department does, they stay in their lane, and that's how it functions. When there's a project that comes to me, we do that project. You come to us all the time.
On to the second part. We bought a new building. Never once have I got communication from you or a key, hey, do you want to go down and look at the building? Never once, no communication, right? No idea. I take care of this building. I look after your office, right? We plow the roads. Not a single thing. Okay. The heater goes bad in the police station. They call me, we replace the heater, right? You want to have a service contract for down there. You don't talk to me one bit. You reached out to a company out of Texas for a service contract. Then Mr. Rare came in and said, I thought you wanted to do local business. Then you backpedaled and said, okay, I'll get a service
We
contract.
never signed a contract.
Let me finish.
Well, you're mischaracterizing
No, I'm not.
what
No, I'm not.
happened.
Then we paid him $825 in May for the service contract, okay? I get a voucher 2 days ago from your office saying, Dan, sign this voucher for $825 for the service contract. I said, we paid it in May.
What's your question?
Seriously? They gave me a voucher for me to pay and sign for $825 for the service contract on the new building, which it was paid in May.
Who's they?
Your office, Regina. It was paid in May. Now the guy says, where's the signed service contract? I said, I didn't execute it. Donnelly did. Where is it?
You're talking for C&M?
Yeah.
It's probably in the C&M file in my office.
They have no signed service contract from you.
They do have a signed service contract.
I just talked to him a day ago. He had nothing.
Oh, we sent it to him.
I said to him, no disrespect, but I didn't handle this. Supervisor Donnelly did.
But Dan, not to interrupt you, but at the same time, talk about communication. I mean, so wouldn't the best thing be to, instead of bringing this all out here, wouldn't it be just have a conversation either by phone, in person with Regina, Mr. Donnelly, and just say, hey, why did I get this? Why did I get this? I mean, we can come out here and
What's
talk.
wrong with doing it here, though?
Sure you can, Dan,
What's wrong with this?
but like instead of holding on to things and bringing them out when it's convenient, I mean, just say it when it bothers you.
This is,
Like, for example, you want a key to the 9W building? By all means, have a key. But like, I didn't want to, I didn't have Keith come and ask me, hey, I want you to come look at the sewer plant. Like I said, Keith, can I come look at the sewer plant? Do you have a time and a date? Sure. Like, just be proactive if you want it. But these things too, I mean, you're bringing things up like the C&M contract. That's fine, and you might have some legitimacy there. But that was a while ago. And to ask somebody, what about this? What about this?
You got a voucher 2 days ago.
But he doesn't have his filing cabinet here. Like, let me look at it and see. Oh yeah, here it is. Like,
I got a voucher 2 days ago asking him for me to sign it to come out of the account that I'm responsible for.
so did you contact him 2 days ago and say, hey, why not?
That's my business.
Why wait for it right now?
Because
2 days ago, you should have been like, hey, Regina, hey, to Mr. Donnelly, I found this. Can we talk about it? I don't think this is right. Or maybe can we check into
what's wrong with this for him?
It's fine, and you can do it, but talk about transparency and efficiency.
This is transparency.
No, it's not. You're waiting 2 days, Dan, to bring up a problem in public when you could have, and you absolutely can do that. You're right, but you could have done it.
Now you want to do things on the phone?
Okay, don't twist my words around, first off, okay? I didn't say that, Dan. What I'm saying is, if you found this out and you were that upset 2 days ago,
I wasn't upset.
you sound very impacted by it, Dan. I mean, you could have called somebody, wrote an email 2 days ago, and still bring it up today. That's fine. I don't care, but like address it 2 days ago if it bothers you 2 days ago.
Why is it so difficult to talk about it here?
I am. We're talking about it.
But you're saying I should do it a different way.
I'm not. I'm saying if you want to bring it up, Dan, that's fine. But if it bothered you 2 days ago, where was the email 2 days ago to Regina or Mr.
Are you serious? I sent an email to you guys and you don't respond.
September 17th at 2:44 p.m. to be exact.
Are
Dan,
you out of your mind?
so would you like me to say, okay, thanks, Dan, for the email?
Yeah, that would be great.
Because sometimes, Dan, like with Linda Geraldson, for example, sometimes I'll answer thanks in an email. Sometimes I'll call. Maybe I missed an email by you. I apologize.
Now you responded to Linda Geraldson's emails.
Dan, I was at
Why
the
didn't you call her?
right place at the right time, I guess. I was at my computer when it came
We
through.
use emails as a way to communicate.
Absolutely, Dan. What I'm saying
I
is,
sent you
if
guys
it bothers you
emails,
so
you don't
much, you
respond.
should have brought it up.
Now you're telling me I should call him on the phone.
I think you should. If you have an issue with the supervisor or with the business department, you should ask them when it bothers you, hey, by phone or by email, I have this issue, I have this problem.
I'll take that. So
Okay.
do you think he should respond to the email?
Sure.
Oh, there you go.
Could I ask a question?
When you have clerical errors from any department, check with the clerks. That's why we have clerks. Check with the departments
I
that
did
you,
check with Regina.
then I still don't see your question or what the
Because
issue
you're
is.
the CFO, so I feel that you should be checking this stuff.
Once again,
I know, the
CFO.
CFO is supposed to do that, I get it. Well, thanks for being the CFO.
you're welcome, because we actually, as CFO, and I'd like to take the opportunity to say that as CFO, strategic plan was to invest in NICLAS $250,000. The administration before didn't invest in anything and lost $400,000. So that's what a CFO does.
Oh, okay.
Thank
you.
Economic strategic plan.
Let's just take.
Not clerical work. I don't sharpen pencils for people. When little things come across the desk, if it's the business office takes care of it. If it's the town clerk's business, she takes care of it. They communicate with each other. If Regina can't figure it out in the business office, and it's not that she can't figure it out, she checks with the accountant. These are separate positions for a reason, and how a town functions properly is that all the departments do the work that they need to do.
Well, there's a
They
highway
don't reach
issue.
out to other departments. They don't step into other departments. You want me to? I'm not an accountant. It's not how it works.
When there's a highway issue, you know who they reach out to?
You,
Right.
of course.
Because I'm the CFO of the highway.
Did
Right.
Can I ask,
Thank you guys for another great meeting.
it was
You wanna,
Does anybody have-
wait to,
just about this.
sure,
It was mentioned 825 back in May. Was it paid back in May? Or is it just getting paid now?
It was paid back in May.
But the money hasn't been moved to the proper account yet.
And so the account is still overdrawn.
Correct.
Right. Money hasn't been moved. But hey, whatever. I'll call Regina
do that.
and ask her to move the money.
Well, we have to do that. That's what we do. We're
The
elected.
CFO does that.
We already moved.
No, the CFO does not do that.
Motion to.
Yes. If that report is complete, I think you did top, Keith on that one. I'll make a motion to accept the highway department report.
I'll second that.
Any
Ms.
more
Bruno, hold
discussion?
on. Ms. Bruno or Mr. Stein?
Take Mr. Scott.
Further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
The reports are complete. As we go into old bit, do the liaisons have anything to report?
Nothing to report.
Candace, do you typically present the tentative during old business?
Typically it's on the schedule, but to stay in my lane, no one prepared the budgets for me to hand out to you. That is not my job. So I did receive a tentative budget yesterday, and usually I receive bound copies for each member of the board and every department head. No one has provided me with those. So I do not have them to present to you. So for the last time, I will step out of my lane, and I'm telling you it's the last time. I have emailed a copy of the tentative budget to everyone here and the department heads, if that is satisfactory. Okay? But I will be in my lane, and I will be not supplementing other departments any longer.
So when the confidential secretary dropped off the tentative budget,
Only one copy was dropped off, and the supervisor's office put together 7 copies, plus a copy for every head of the department. That was not done.
typically that's what happens.
Yeah, for the past 5 years I've been here, that's what's been happening.
And what did he say when you told him that?
When he dropped it off yesterday, I was not here.
Okay,
It's not my responsibility, I'm staying in my lane.
absolutely.
That's right.
Okay. So can you still present the budget?
It's in your email. Check your emails, see if you got it.
Can, Mr. Supervisor,
That
So-
I have one,
I have one.
and it was filed on September 24th with the town clerk's office.
Yeah, I got it.
So thank you, Candace, for doing that.
Tomorrow, can Mr. Fazio bind copies and just put them in our mailboxes? We can pick them up whenever you want.
I think that's what has to be done.
Yeah.
Well, right, but can you do it tomorrow?
So for the board's edification, the what had changed on there is the youth program for $2,000. Yeah, we all have our old sewer rate change for $259,131.68. There was an added $1,200 to A3120.4.
What was that?
That's a police chief 5-year Axiom bundle. And $50,000 bond payment to DA. That is to cover the cost of the plow truck payments for that year. And the $140,000 capital outlay for the truck purchase.
So you decided to put in the tentative budget for half cash, bond the rest?
Correct. Well, it wasn't.
It was what?
It's in the tentative budget, so
That's what I'm
these
asking.
can change.
I know.
as- Yeah.
That's
so
all I'm asking.
yes,
I'm just confirming,
Yes.
because I didn't get a response to my email about how we were handling the truck payment.
Well, as a highway liaison, you should intimately know Dan's budget.
Mr. Baker, did you know that that's what,
Nobody has communicated anything with me.
well, how would I know from the highway superintendent?
Because
Did
we
you call my office?
spoke
and
about it
tell me
through email. There's always been a plan for this plow truck. Bond the whole thing out.
You just
Half 50-50, that we would pay $140 down, assuming it's $280,000, and bond the other half out, or pay the full amount.
That's not really a plan.
Board
That's
has
just kind
been
of a
aware
guess.
of that since the very beginning. All the board has to do is make a determination. There's always been that plan in place since 2024. We've talked about it endlessly.
So at the budget meeting, Councilman Smith said, are you gonna put money in next year's budget for the truck?
It was in.
You guys were like,
it was in fund balance. It's in fund balance.
Yeah, but you
And
never,
it's going,
It's not in-
and it is in the budget.
now it is, but I don't know it.
Correct. Because the determination was not made, and we're still discussing it. That's why this is a tentative budget. And we have the preliminary budget for October 9th, so we will have those discussions hopefully over
Go back
email.
in your memory.
If email is acceptable
Go
for
back, when I presented this 18 months ago, I said in 2025, we will have debt service coming off. I'm asking you guys to replace this with that debt service. Nobody ever said a word, nothing. 18 months has gone by. We drug our feet, the truck went up by $6,000. No, I don't know what you guys are doing. Nobody said a word to me. There's no communication, there's no emails, there's no nothing. Where's the budget?
right here. It's a tentative budget.
So
Preliminaries.
I don't know.
I haven't seen it.
Figure out how you're gonna pay for it. I don't know. It's coming.
Have to save bottles. Start saving bottles.
So that takes us to resolutions.
Old
Yeah,
business, new
before we,
business.
old business?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just for old business, I know at the last meeting I had mentioned, something that I mentioned previously, but even before the last meeting, was, that 3 of the 5 members voted for the Fast New York grant, and for the electrical upgrade for the port. And with that, going forward apparently, and possible industrial presence growing, if that happens, if and when that happens, I thought it'd be important to sort of go through the town code, and if you see anything, you say something. So Mr. Smith was kind enough to mention, perhaps we get an engineer and we go through it, and he even offered help, and I appreciate that. And I do think that's a possibility a little more long-term, because that takes some time to set up. But in the short term, I'd reached out to Mr. Riley with a couple issues that I found. I want to bring that up, that I talked to him, and him and I have had a discussion, and he did email everybody an email. It was a little bit late. It was like at 4 o'clock. I don't know if you saw it or not. But maybe Mr. Riley can speak to that.
Sure, so a couple things. I guess we did have a brief discussion at the meeting last month about maybe some general and specific concerns about a couple of zoning code issues. I think Mr. Schmidt's suggestion that you do sort of a big picture review makes a lot of sense. If you want any suggestions on consultants or whatnot, I'd be happy to offer those. But in terms of the more immediate specific concern that Mr. Stott had mentioned, I think it basically had to do with this idea of a transportation terminal as an accessory use in the RA zone. I did have a chance to take a look at that and go back through some of the local law that caused that to occur. Frankly, as I've indicated in my email that I sent out to you guys, it almost just looks like an error, a mistake that occurred back in July of 2020, I think it was, when the town was adopting a new solid waste law. They added 2 defined terms to the zoning code. One was a transfer station, and the other was a transportation terminal. It appears to me that those phrases were already sprinkled in the code at the time that those terms were defined. One area where it appeared was as a principal use in a couple of the industrial zones. Another area that it was sort of obliquely referenced to was as an accessory use in the RA zone for farm, produce, warehouse, barn, and transportation terminal. So the defined terms were added. The minutes at the time seemed to indicate that really the focus was on that industrial zone and being sure that your solid waste law hung together and you had the appropriate defined terms. But it looks like there were some unintended consequences in terms of its implication for the RA zone. I would also just note as an aside that like an accessory use, if you look at the definition, is really, well, it's almost a secondary use to the principal use, right? Like it's a farm stand that's associated with a principal use of farming. It's maybe some other more modest use. In this case, this term, transportational terminal, is a pretty intense use. It's a railway terminal, freight station, container terminal, yard, multi-purpose cargo terminal, port, transfer station. So it's a pretty intensive use that you wouldn't typically see for like an accessory use, which is a shed or a farm stand or that type of thing. In any event, I think the quick fix or the simple approach to handle that would be to create a new defined term, which would be like an agriculture-related transportation terminal. Use that as the transportation terminal that's permitted as an accessory use in the RA zone, and then not allow this more industrial transportation terminal as an accessory use in the RA zone. I think that's sort of the most straightforward way to go about it. So what I emailed out today was just sort of that background and a proposed local law for you to consider. And that's really, on that particular funding issue, I think what I would recommend. That's not to say you shouldn't do a broader look.
So I have two questions.
Yep.
One for Mr. Stott. Out of everything that's in that code, and I've been through that code many, many, many times in my many years of being on the Zoning Board of Appeals, why did you specifically pick out transportation terminal?
Well, like you said, I mean, if you said you've been through it many times, I'm surprised you didn't pick it up. But I looked through it, and that's, you see something, you say something. I looked through it, and it looks pretty clear to me that that is not appropriate for that kind of zoning. I mean, it's almost abundantly clear. It sticks out like a sore thumb. So it popped out rather than other things because of the pungency of it.
And I think, I mean, the reality is you had a major application, right, that was going to rely on that term as a proposed basis to expand into the RA zone. They have since, I don't know if they've technically withdrawn that application, but my recollection from the meeting we had in February is they basically indicated that's no longer part of the scope of what we hope to do. So if you want to fix it, you sort of have a window of time that now's the time to fix it.
My second question is for Mr. Riley. The work that you've done up until this point on, research or looking at the code or whatever, sending an email, is that work that's going to be covered in your town attorney contract, or is this work that you're going to bill separately to the town of Queens?
I would consider it part of the what I would say the 002 file, right, which is sort of the non-retainer. And if you look at the retainer, it's generally focused on attendance at meetings, preparation of resolutions, that type of thing. We've handled the various FOIL requests under the 001. The more one-off or unusual requests we've put under the 002, or if there was a specific matter, assessment matters, I put under a separate file, that type of thing. So, I mean, that was my intent, but I'm happy to talk to the board about it.
The reason I ask is because I didn't receive any communication that there was communication between you and Mr. Stott, and that we as a town were authorizing you to conduct any work outside of the town attorney contract.
Yeah, I mean, my recollection is we talked about the issue at the last board meeting.
We talked about the need to update the code, absolutely. But I don't know that anybody gave any sort of
Like
authority.
a year ago in that back room, we talked about it, and I said, hey, I want to look at this.
Agreed.
And Mr. Donnelly was there, and you, Ron wasn't there, but you and Linda were there, and you said, yeah, by all means, do it. I mean,
that doesn't mean that we authorize the town attorney, or you authorize the town attorney yourself to go ahead and do work. Well, that's what Mr. Riley is saying. Mr. Riley is saying that he has completed work now that is going to be billed in addition to his town attorney work. Because Mr. Stott reached out to him and said.
Right, so when the assessor reaches out to me with a question, a legal question, I answer it.
But again, in my opinion, that's town attorney work.
Yeah.
You know, The assessor works for the town. She's asking you something that has to do with the town. That's town attorney work.
Sure, so I think it was at your request, we broke down our bills into separate matters. We've done that since January. If you have questions or concerns about it, please raise them. I'd be happy to talk to you about it.
I mean, I would just like to be more aware,
Sure.
Clearly this was a private conversation that took place between you and Councilman Stott, unless other members of the board were aware. I just wasn't, so this is news to me that now at 7:20, I'm made aware of an email that came in at 4 whatever, and now you're telling me that there's work that you're going to bill outside of.
Yeah.
Steve, I think it's a great use of Mr. Riley's, the taxpayer money to make sure that our town code is safe for
Yeah, if
people.
he's billing it under the town attorney contract, but if he's billing additional funds now, I think the town board should have a discussion about what we're going to do and what it's going to cost, and maybe we ask Mr. Riley for a proposed budget.
I feel like we've talked about that, and you sort of like, yeah, go ahead, let me know. Like, do you want me to do research on my own and look at things as a non-attorney and be like,
Yeah, I mean.
and I did. I said, hey, Mr. Riley, I'm not an attorney with an objective lens.
Okay, so
Can
why
look
didn't
at
you
this?
send an email to the board that says, you know what, I went through the code, this stands out at me, see something, say something, so this is what I'd like to do. No, that didn't happen, and now we're getting billed in excess of the original town attorney contract. So that's all I'm saying.
Okay.
I mean, I agree, the code needs to be updated.
So let me ask you a question. If I said that, if even last week I said, hey, I want to ask Mr. Riley about this particular thing I found that I think needs to be looked at further, would you have said no?
I would have said, let's talk and figure out what it's gonna cost to research, because the town attorney bills are already above and beyond what we budgeted for. So yes, I would have said,
You were also the one saying, well, we should definitely hire an engineer and go through the whole town.
but I didn't reach
Tens of
out to an
thousands.
engineering company and have them start doing research.
I apologize, Steve. Maybe I should have, but I didn't.
I would
think
have
it was
appreciated the
important.
fact that you
I think
shared
it's
it with us.
And I apologize. I thought it was, I'm
It would have been
sharing
the
it.
first step.
I'm sharing the information I found.
It just seems like there's a lot of that,
Does it?
Yeah.
I'm sure.
And I'm not saying specifically towards you, but it just seems like there's no communication, right? And there was a site visit down at the substation, the sheriff's substation, that
Yeah.
nobody knew about. And then all of a sudden we get an email that says we were at the. I understand.
Go take a site visit.
Man.
Go to the sewer plant. Go to the highway plant. Go to the police station. You don't need my permission to do so. Go do it.
I have always communicated to the board when there's been something that I want to focus on or something that
Okay.
I've always included the supervisor. There's never been an email that I have sent that the entire board is not copied on, ever.
Well, you have the Fast New York grant that you just kind of submarine.
Yes.
into
Other
it.
than
That, there was no communication
I was
there.
tired of you dragging your feet. It was 18
we
months
don't have to go through this again.
that you did
Yeah.
nothing
Oh,
with regards
it was
to this.
actually months and months of work. Look, there's Kevin O'Connor. Look, they're not here and they're not coming back. I spent 18 months getting them to come here so they could have a presentation,
I disagree.
so that we would have negotiation strength.
I
And you
disagree.
blew it all up,
I disagree.
just like that.
I disagree.
And you put the town at risk for
I disagree.
17. What is it? $100 million?
I disagree.
Of course you disagree, because you didn't do your homework, you didn't read anything, and you didn't talk to anybody. I told you in that room and him, hey, this is a presentation. This is a presentation. They're just gonna show us something, and then hopefully they'll have a map and go, this is where it's going. And then we can move forward. And for God only knows what reason, you wrote that resolution that doesn't even say anything and presented it.
And it passed.
Because Luke Rogers reached out to 1, 2, 3 board members and convinced them to present a resolution that doesn't even ask what you think it asks, is unbelievable.
We can have this discussion.
So if you really want to start talking the history of what happened for the last 22 months, yeah, we can get into that. But I think we should just move forward to the resolution.
Let me say, Mr. Schmidt, I apologize. Maybe I didn't go about the wrong way. I thought what I was doing was, good. I thought what I was doing was appropriate in the fact that I was trying to gain information so that I could bring more information back to the board and we could make a decision on this. I can understand, your concern, absolutely, but whether or not I reached out beforehand, I mean, I could assume we all would come to the same agreement that, yeah, like, let's have Mr. Wright look into this so we can get down to the bottom of it. So I understand where you're coming from. I thought I was doing the right thing and taking the lead on something and
I'm not saying you're not.
Right.
In theory, what you're doing is spot on.
Yeah.
But there has to be more communication, and I just am weary of the town attorney bills, growing with the last couple of months that's left in this calendar year.
Sure, and I agree, but I'm okay with the town bills growing if it's for the right reasons, and I think this is for the right reason. That's all. So I will think about what you said and do better from here on out. So thanks, Mr. Schmidt.
Any more old business?
I think before because there's a resolution on for tonight about
The sidewalk, right?
the LaBerge addendum.
The addendum, yeah, that's just to communicate to the board
So
that the DASNY grant still exists. There's $150,000 in it. The resolution is tabled. I just wanted you guys to see
Oh, I didn't know it
the
was tabled.
addendum. Well, we obviously can't vote on it. There's a lot of discussion to be had.
Well, then how come it's on the agenda as a resolution, and how come I was provided with a draft agenda? If it was it should have been under old business and no resolution if it was gonna be just discussed.
Correct.
Oh, so that's table.
Yeah, we're not gonna vote on it.
Easy enough.
Any new business to present, board members? Hearing none, I'm gonna move on to the resolutions.
Councilmember Hoteling offer the following resolution and move its adoption, whereas it is important to delineate the chain of command within the town of Queens Police Department to ensure service to the public is delivered in a professional and expedient fashion, and whereas the town of Queens Police Department is currently in need of a supervisory presence during afternoon and evening hours to assist in mentoring, training, and in developmental oversight. And whereas Corporal Michael Veeder, currently a full-time police officer with the Queens Police Department and is qualified to fulfill this role. And whereas the town of Queens Police Chief is desirous of appointing a sergeant to fulfill this role and recommends Corporal Michael Veeder to be appointed to such rank. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Queens does hereby authorize the provisional appointment of Corporal Michael Veeder to the rank of sergeant in full-time status effective October 6, 2025 at an hourly rate of $39.76 per hour.
I'll second that for discussion. And I'm okay with this. I did check with Regina, and it's in the budget. It's all set to go. So that was my only concern. So once it's in the budget, I just wanted to verify and let everybody know that.
Well, it's in the budget for 2026.
Right.
But it's not in the budget for right now. So there is, now, I just went back to the organizational meeting. Mr. Veeder was making $34.56 per hour. He's now gonna make $39.76 per hour, which is a $5.20 per hour raise. I'm not saying he's not deserving of that. I'm not saying that we don't need this position. But Chief, I just had a question. Is there any reason why we couldn't hold off the promotion until January 1st so that we are into a new budget session? Or is it something that is like really should take place right now?
So I would say two things about that. I would say one is we have some very young officers now who are performing well, but they're young, inexperienced. Several have less than 3 years of experience with them. Most of them work on the afternoon and overnights. We have has a resignation of an officer that has been with us for 8 years. I think the last time you read that. I also have a detective who is currently on extended sick leave from an off-duty accident. When I look at those numbers, I think it's prudent and I think it's affordable to pay the new sergeant position and start it now. Waiting till January, I understand your concern, but I think right now it's critical that we have people out there at night able to oversee what's going on. And again, I also reiterate that, if you look at the numbers and the activity that we're involved in now, when you get better at something, you have more business. Anybody that does any kind of business knows that. So we just happen to be very busy, and so I'm more comfortable if we can have someone of his caliber out there overseeing things.
So based upon those numbers anyway, $5,000 an hour, 40 hours a week, is that what you guys go by? So it's roughly $200 a week, times 12, $2,400. So based upon your shortages right now, you feel you have enough
I do.
with those who are not working and the gaps in service right now to cover that $2,400?
I do.
That's fair.
Great.
Fair.
Thank you, Chief, I appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
So I seconded, yeah.
No further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I, Councilmember Stott, offering the following resolution with its adoption, whereas the board of the town of Queens recently purchased real property located at 2524 US Route 9W, Ravena, New York, the property, to allow for the relocation of town hall offices to a suitable location that provides adequate space and public access, and whereas the property requires necessary upgrades and improvements prior to the property being used for the town hall facilities, which upgrades and improvements are reflected in the plans for the project that have been prepared by LaBerge Group, and whereas the estimated maximum cost of the project is reflected in a bid received from AOW Construction LLC in the amount of $205,668, the capital project cost, and whereas the town maintains certain capital reserves that can be used for the upgrades and improvements to the property to cover the capital project cost. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the town board of the town of Queens hereby establishes the Route 9W Town Hall retrofit project and hereby establishes a 9W renovation capital fund for the project. Number two, the town board of the town of Queens does hereby authorize Supervisor Stephen Donnelly to transfer $250,000 from the existing town hall capital reserve to a newly created 9W renovation capital H-50. Sorry, capital fund H-50.
Second, discussion?
So a couple of questions. What's currently in our town hall capital reserve fund? Or what's in the capital reserve fund? Or what's in the fund balance that we're gonna move? Like, where are we getting this $250,000 from? Where are we pulling it from to put it into this 9W renovation capital fund H50?
Most likely a general fund. That's what I would.
It's coming from the town hall capital reserve that was set up in December of 2023, I believe.
Okay.
It's in there.
750,000.
700,000. That was from a solar. This predates me, but from a solar.
Yeah.
pilot.
So that's,
It's coming out of that $700,000 and change fund. When we were putting this together, we had sort of a rough draft from Regina. I asked her what the amount would be. She recommended $250,000, which gives her a little bit of a breathing room unless there's some type of a change order or whatever it might be in connection with the $205,000 that we currently have under the contract obligated.
but we don't know specifically off the top of our head how much money's in that fund.
We know
It's 700,000 and change or something.
I mean, it's in your budget, right?
I was gonna ask the supervisor if he could point me to, so that I know exactly where this is coming from. I'd just like to know how much money's in there before we start transferring money or saying we're gonna transfer money.
I do remember it was like $700,000 or $750,000 earmarked for it, I believe.
Because honestly, I looked through here and I didn't see it. My next question was,
That fund had been, that was created, that would have been from,
It was created, I mean, I have the resolution, it was September. Well, the reserve fund was set up in September, on September 22nd, 2022. My recollection is the funds, though, were then transferred in
after we got sales tax,
November.
or not sales tax, but that Hecate.
23, late 23.
Okay. Is the creation of this 9W renovation capital fund suggested, reviewed, and approved by Sarah Morrison?
Yeah, I think that's who Regina's reaching out to. She would be the best person, because if you asked her this question, she would probably say that she has to check with Sarah.
So she has to check with her? So we're passing a resolution and she hasn't already checked with her?
No,
Okay.
the fund already exists from 2023.
Not the 9W renovation capital fund, it doesn't.
It looks like we're renaming it and moving money into a specific
No, you're
fund.
creating a fund.
Right, creating a new, right.
But I'm not getting any answers about, I'm just getting, there's a resolution on the table and we're gonna transfer $250,000, but nobody knows how much money's in the account that we're transferring it from. Nobody has been in touch with our accountant.
I don't know if that's true. I mean, I'm sure.
Well, Mr. Donnelly just said, that Regina is reaching out to Sarah Morrison.
My recollection was that the request we received was from Regina, but it was based on her discussions with the town's accountant, who indicated, based on the fact that you've entered into a contract to complete a public works project, you need to set up a capital fund so that you can pay for it. The contractor is beginning to do work, and so the accountant has suggested that you establish a capital fund called the
9W renovation capital fund. Correct.
I don't know off the top of my head the specific amount that was in there, but we do know that in excess of $700,000 was transferred into the reserve fund, and that's been earning interest in NICLAS ever since.
Yeah.
So far in excess of the $250,000 that the accountant and Regina had recommended be transferred or there.
My last question is, if we place $250,000 into the capital fund solely designated for the 9W retrofit renovation, the bid was only $205,668. If we're lucky, and that's all that we have to pay, is what the bid that came in was placed, are we going to be able to remove any money remaining
Absolutely.
out of that fund?
You would close out the capital project, and at that time, you would transfer back whatever money was
Because
that you.
my understanding, the whole purpose of creating a capital fund is so that you can use that money to pay for whatever is designated for.
Yeah, but when the project's, when the project's done and you close out that capital fund, you can then transfer any excess.
Okay.
To an appropriate account within that fund, right? So you couldn't transfer it to a B fund account, but you could transfer it to the other.
Okay.
Yeah, and just to follow up on your question of the amount. So my recollection from Regina is that it's a fund, there's $1,773,104.61.
But that's a fund. That's not the capital reserve project that we're pulling money from.
Right.
We put money into a capital reserve fund, and Mr. Riley said it was about $700,000 and change. So Regina did tell me, myself, that it was $1,773,000, but that number I don't think is correct, because we put money into this specific fund that we are now pulling out to put in this other specific fund. So, Mr. Riley, I don't know if you heard that, but Mr. Donnelly said, and Regina has told me, that what is currently in our town hall capital reserve fund is $1,773,000. Now, I know, you don't do anything with the budget and everything else, but my recollection is it is not $1,773,000. And I don't know if anybody else can shed some light on that, but.
I mean, my understanding is that it would be the the amount in excess of $700,000 that was initially transferred into that reserve account, and then it is whatever interest has been earned on those reserve funds have to be.
We didn't make $1 million in interest.
It's maybe not $1 million, but we know it's in excess of the $700,000 because this board has not withdrawn anything from that reserve.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly, I need that number in order to, authorize the supervisor to transfer $250,000 from an account that I can't get an answer on how much money's in it. But that's just my opinion.
And Mr. Dunley, is this something, does Regina need, I mean, they just started, so I'm sure you don't pay them all up front. Does she need this right now, or can this be something in our next meeting we
It
can?
just creates an H fund, and it comes from the fund that Mr. Ravena talked about.
But, I mean, to that question, they started work last week?
This week, I think.
The 23rd.
We meet again in 2 weeks.
The person will talk about that.
I just want to table it for now and just make sure we got everything situated and bring it back.
That would be my recommendation.
I mean, it doesn't hurt, right? So let's just table this one for now? Yeah, fair enough.
Do we need a motion to table it since there was a resolution?
I make a motion to table. What's that?
He said because there's a resolution.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay. Yes, I make a motion to table this resolution pertaining to the 9W renovation capital fund.
Second. I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so the next one is the Dasney. That just leaves us. Supervisor Donnelly offered the following resolution and move its adoption. Be it resolved that the town board has approved the payment of bills as presented in the abstract for September 2025 as follows. Prepaid vouchers, 25001368 to 25001423. The following funds: general, $156,361.19. Part-town, $22,944.98. DB, $49,896.46. Sewer, $24,139.15. Trust and agency, $48,325.65. Voucher numbers 25001424 to 25001493 from the following funds: general, $180,833.06. Part-town, $1,681.11. DA, $16,996.44. DB, $8,719.41. Sewer, $60,778.50. Trust and agency, $1,800. Total for all funds, $580,475.95.
So I'll second it for discussion. So I just want to make the board aware that, so I arrived to review and approve vouchers on Tuesday evening, September 23rd. Most of the vouchers were already rubber stamped with Mr. Donnelly's either signature or his initials in the area where the council initials to be approved. I don't like that idea. I've indicated before, I'm not saying it's illegal. I'm just saying now it's another layer of, the supervisor rubber stamping on the department approval. And now there's a rubber stamp before any council even comes in to review the vouchers. There's already a rubber stamp approval. So my question, Supervisor, is, are you reviewing the vouchers twice? Are you reviewing the vouchers and then putting your stamp on as the department approval box? And then are you reviewing them again for accuracy and putting your stamp under the where the council approves the payment of the voucher?
So it's my understanding that there's no material change when they get entered into MCSJ. So it is stamped, signed for approval, and stamped once again for approval.
At the same exact time.
Yes.
And as we as a board, are we comfortable with that?
If there's a change from when they put it in the computer, if there's a change, Candace could probably answer this. If there's a change from the time it goes from the supervisor's office to that table back there, usually you let us know, right? I mean, if there's an issue or some voucher's not correct, you'll let us know, right? I mean, if there's no change at all from the time it goes from there to the time it goes to you to that back table, like we hear nothing, right? We just assume everything was the same from there to there to there. So if there's an issue, we'd hear about it through email, I assume, and he would hear about it as well.
But I mean, the whole purpose of us auditing the vouchers and putting our initials there for approval is to say, you know, we came in and we did our due diligence and we reviewed them and we are now saying, okay, this is for approval. Sometimes we don't, right? And sometimes through discussion with the invoices, some people don't initial. So if all of a sudden I'm coming in now and there's already a rubber stamp there that now come to find out was done maybe a week or so ago, how do I know that, you know, 3 people are auditing the vouchers and we're ready to proceed with the resolution?
It doesn't stop you from doing your job. You can
Oh, I know, I
your
still do my
diligence.
job.
I guess we're all in a sense independent auditors, right? I mean, from Regina to Sarah to the supervisor to Candace and Cheryl to all of us. I mean, so there's one there when you get there, but I mean, if it's you disagree, you just don't sign it, right? I mean, that's you as an independent auditor saying I don't approve of this for this reason. I mean,
Again, I just wanted to bring it
that's
to the
just-
board's attention that that was my
because you still
comment.
right. It's you need
And
to read.
sometimes clerical errors, once again,
Oh,
to your point
I,
of the .4, I mean,
I know errors happen and I know we're all human.
right.
However, a rubber stamp, you know, saying so that you can get 3 initials to go ahead and approve the voucher, you know, I don't know. I don't see where the so you are a member of this board, you know, and you are now rubber stamping a voucher saying that you audited basically the voucher that you already approved.
Correct.
I don't think
It
that.
still doesn't stop you from doing your job.
I know. I don't approve it because I don't think it's right.
But I mean, to be honest though, do you want him? So he stamps. He looks at it, signs them first, but then you want him to come back 2 days later and sign them again?
No,
Re-sign
honestly,
them?
Mike, if he didn't rubber stamp it, I wouldn't have an issue with the majority of the.
I listen. That's your opinion. That's fine. You like the rubber stamp, but it's not illegal. So and that's your opinion. But I look at the vouchers and I say, if it looks good, the numbers add up, then I sign it, regardless of whether he uses a rubber stamp. If Linda uses a crayon, I don't care. I'm gonna be an independent auditor.
I'm gonna have a problem with the crayon.
Like I'm just being dramatic.
You have a problem with a crayon, but not with the rubber stamp.
Can I interject on that subject for a second?
Yeah.
Part of the problem with the rubber stamp is it should be used, very cautiously. And are you the only person using the rubber stamp?
I am.
Okay, so instead of signing everything, you're just going like this with the whole pile. No one else, but.
It's
when you
exactly
have a
like
wet
the budget.
signature, and we know
Every
you
single
did it.
second that you save turns into minutes and those turn into hours. It's exactly like pennies. That's why when we go through the budget and there's $500, and we have these conversations. I just had a conversation with someone that came into the office that wanted to have an increase in their budget line. And it's the conversation that we're gonna have. If you want $10,000, where is that going to come from? That has to come from somewhere. So time adds up, money adds up. Those are the 2 most valuable things. So if there is 0 time in the supervisor's office. I worked through lunch today. I got home at 6:30 last night. I mean, the work has to get done. And if I can make it more efficient any way that I can, then I do. Because efficiency is key.
Well, just for the record, not all of the vouchers were rubber stamped with Mr. Donnelly's initials. So there are some, for whatever reason, and I don't know why, that they're not double stamped.
Rich, is rubber stamp legal?
It's not an issue I've looked into specifically, but I expect if a signature or somebody's required to make their mark, you know, whether the individual making the mark uses pen or a pencil or Mrs. Bruno's crayon or a stamp, I think that would be acceptable.
The stamp is.
That's my sort of, you know, gut reaction as I sit here today, that if the person making the mark, leaving their mark, is controlling that.
So I could go up there and use his stamp and stamp it.
You missed the
He has
first
to be
half
the
of what
one.
I said, but it would be,
He would have to be the one, but I don't know that he's the only one that has access
That's
to
what I'm
that.
saying.
I don't know that it's kept locked up in a drawer.
It is locked up.
Okay.
In the past, we've required that the sewer plant operator sign his
Correct.
vouchers.
And he has, ever since we requested it.
It seems like a valid.
Do you want Mrs. Dimitrazic to speak or?
Oh, yeah, it's,
No, it's not public comment time.
On my experience, my brief experience working in that office, that my understanding with the vouchers was that the supervisor, and not to contradict Supervisor Donnelly, but the supervisor usually didn't initial them. It's the way for the other council people to have oversight of the vouchers. And the only time I remember having Mr. Crandall sign was when there wasn't, like, there was board members that were gonna be absent, or when we needed a third signature because somebody wasn't there. So that's just my impression of it.
I'm under the same
So-
impression.
I'm not trying to disagree with, but that's how I remember things being done.
So there's been a precedent, it's happened before, it happens.
What?
The initial that
But
you're talking about.
usually the supervisor didn't
Correct.
initial at the bottom of the page, especially when he was signing the voucher up above to authorize it.
Correct.
So that, but I was only there a
Well,
short period of time, but that's
If
just,
you have board members that are going, they're not looking at the voucher and the money and the facts of it, and they're going, I don't like this, my feelings are hurt.
That's not true.
That's different.
Nobody's feelings hurt. Nobody's ever said that. And in fact, I go through these vouchers line by line by line, and I think that's evident by the information that I can present here at every end of the month meeting with issues on vouchers that I have month in and month out.
Yet there's still clerical errors, so these things happen. I think this is.
So this
a
has nothing to
non-issue,
do with feelings
but it is
getting
fun
hurt.
to
This has
say
everything to do with,
rubber
I go through and I take my job seriously and I do
Absolutely.
the due
That's
diligence
why it doesn't
that's
stop you
needed.
from doing your job. I think this is a non-issue.
but when you're looking at needing 3 sets of initials, and that's all you really need to approve that voucher going through, somebody could, a council member could sit there and say, oh, it's already got 3, I'm not gonna bother looking at it.
Is that what you're saying?
Not that I would do that, I wouldn't do that, 'cause I
I don't
would
think
look at
that's what
every little
anyone's saying. I think
detail.
that everybody here does their due diligence, as well as Councilperson Schmidt. and
But you
stuff.
don't have a requirement of having 5 signatures.
I can tell you
It
that
does
if
not
Mr.
stop
Donnelly
anyone
didn't
from
rubber
doing their
stamp or
job.
didn't sign in the past, these vouchers, the auditing part of the vouchers, my opinion, and I wouldn't be voting to pay probably half the bills because they weren't reviewed and signed by 3 board members.
But that's
Well, I
also,
remember sitting here.
As
and
of
listening to
late,
that.
Mr. Donnelly has come in on the Thursday, 45 minutes before the meeting starts, and has gone through all the vouchers and has signed and has initialed them with pen to make sure that we could pass the resolution.
but
This time, he had already rubber stamped them, so he didn't have to come in at 5:15 to go through that process again.
I just know from reading some audits done by the state
Yeah.
and stuff, that a lot of times municipalities get dinged on board oversight.
Yeah.
And one of the easiest things to see is looking at vouchers, that you've got 3 councilmen.
well, Annette, the problem is this, it's the fact that, and I told Steve Schmidt, I said, Steve, if you don't want to sign vouchers because they're rubber stamped, that's up to you.
But I still review it.
No, absolutely no. Steve absolutely reviews the vouchers. I'm not saying that, but the problem we have in that is that Steve won't sign any vouchers that are rubber stamped. So if Ron is not here, let's say, right, and you have a table back there and the bills got to get paid, and we all go through the vouchers and we don't have 3 signatures, let's just say.
Well, then you can have, then I would have the supervisor do it.
Well, right, but the problem is, would you rather have what's going on, or would you rather have a situation where we come in here at 5:45 and it's like one person's absent and Mr. Schmidt's not signing any voucher that has a rubber stamp because he doesn't want to, and now we can't.
It's not because I don't want to, it's because I don't think if push comes to
Right.
shove
And I understand
and
that,
the
Steve.
comptroller's office audits us, I don't think that it's going to pass, the comptroller's.
And I understand. I said that's fine. I understand that, but the problem is, Mr. Donnelly can't allow bills not to be paid for the town because we don't have 3 signatures. So if you're questioning why is he signing the bottom part, is because we need 3 signatures,
Okay.
and they're all gone through. They've all been seen. They've all been reviewed.
I didn't realize there was some,
That's an issue.
That-
That's why Mr. Donnelly has had to do that, because if you don't, you only have 2 signatures, let's say, and now you don't pay your bills.
But Mike, how do you know who you saw if it's a rubber stamp?
What's that again, Barb?
How do you know he has seen it if it's a rubber stamp, not his written signature or initial?
I would assume if he's telling me,
You can't assume.
well, I mean, you have to have faith in people sometime, right, Barb? I mean,
Well, I understand that, but I'm.
you know, if he's telling me it's locked and only he uses it, I'm not going to hire a detective to say, I want you to spy on Mr. Donnelly and see if maybe, like, if he says it.
That's what the comptroller's gonna do.
Well, okay, but let him prove it. I don't know. I just feel like you're sort of stuck in that sense that if, you know, and that if he's signing the bottom as well as like the authorizing signature, it's because Mr. Schmidt, and it's okay, Mr. Schmidt is not signing anything rubber stamped. I can respect that, but, you know.
Okay, now I understand the whole picture. What's going
But
on?
to me, if I see a voucher with 4 signatures.
Yeah.
All right, and he, as the chief financial officer, just put his initials. Don't use a rubber stamp.
That doesn't happen if you have 3 signatures. If we have 3 signatures, he doesn't need to go back and put his own. We don't need 4, right? He's already the authorizing person. He doesn't need to do that. Yeah.
I don't know. I like signatures.
Any further discussion?
All in favor of that?
Brings us to vote on it.
We gotta vote on that one.
Did we vote? This is the.
We haven't voted
We
yet.
didn't even vote on it.
We haven't.
Oh, the abstract.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstract passes. Upcoming meetings, October 6th and 22nd are the next PBZBA meetings at 7 o'clock, and October 9th and 23rd are our next meetings at 6 p.m. It's public comment time. If anybody would like to make a comment, please step up to the lectern.
Barb, I'm gonna steal your thunder first. I got some things I gotta say.
Oh, okay.
First of all, I gotta read a letter into the record from a subject who couldn't be here tonight. And I got some comments I gotta make regarding a meeting that was a couple meetings ago. So first one's a letter I'm reading into the record because the subject couldn't be here tonight. It says, who's the subject? That's from George McHugh.
Oh, okay.
All right. Dear Queenstown board members, I'm writing you out of concern that the town of Queens social media policy, which was adopted by the town board on January 14th, 2021, and immediately incorporated into the town of Queens employee handbook has been and continues to be violated by Supervisor Stephen Donnelly and his confidential assistant Stephen Fazio. The purpose of this letter is to bring these acts to your attention and ask that the practice of linking the town supervisor's personal political Facebook page to the town of Queens Facebook page be prohibited and stopped immediately. I further request that one or all of you seek an advisory opinion from the Town Ethics Committee, which is your right and duty to request, on whether or not these acts constitute a violation of the subject social media policy and relevant sections of the handbook. On Monday, September 15th, 2025 at 2:34 p.m., which is I assume is during scheduled work hours at the town, Mr. Fazio linked the personal political Facebook page blog of Stephen Donnelly, supervisor for the town of Queens, to the town official Facebook page. Again, on Friday, September 19th, 2025, at 8:50 a.m., which again I assume is during scheduled work hours of the town, Mr. Fazio linked the personal political Facebook page blog of Stephen Donnelly, supervisor for the town of Queens, to the official town of Queens Facebook page. On this particular post, Mr. Donnelly attacks Councilman Schmidt and Councilman Hoteling for voting against the bond resolution at a prior meeting. I'm enclosing for your convenience a copy of the town of Queens social media policy, the adopting resolution, and records reflecting the date and time Mr. Fazio linked the supervisor's personal political page to the official town of Queens Facebook page. The town social media policy, which was moved for adoption on January 14th, 2021 by Councilmember Linda Bruno and passed unanimously by the town board, state that this policy applies to, quote, all employees of the town of Queens, end quote. I assume this means appointed employees as well as elected officials that may be instructing their employees to act on their behalf. The policy goes on to state, quote, do not create a link from your blog, website, or other official or other social networking site to the town of Queens website, end quote. In the two instances above, It is clear that Supervisor Donnelly's personal political Facebook page was personally linked to the official Town of Queens Facebook page by town employee Stephen Fazio during normal work hours and most likely at the direction of, or at least with the knowledge of, his immediate supervisor during normal work hours. His immediate supervisor, Mr. Donnelly, in direct violation of the town's policy and handbook. The subject policy goes on to state, quote, if you publish a blog or post online related to work you do or subjects associated with the town of Queens, you make it clear you are not speaking on behalf of the town of Queens. It is best to include a disclaimer such as the posting on the site are my own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the town of Queens, end quote. Nowhere on any of the above referenced posts on the personal political page of Stephen Donnelly, supervisor for the town of Queens, have I noticed such a disclaimer. The subject social media policy also states that employees should, quote, refrain from using social media while on work time or equipment we, open parentheses, town, close parentheses, provide, unless it is work-related and authorized by your supervisor, end quote. Linking Mr. Donnelly's personal political Facebook page to the official Town of Queens Facebook page, in my opinion, is in and of itself violative in the town's social media policy, but even more egregious, assuming it is being done at the direction of the town supervisor by employees under his direct supervision while on town payroll and using town-owned equipment. I respectfully request that the town board take the steps to ensure that this type of activity of using the official Town of Queens Facebook page for personal and political purposes ends immediately. I further request that at least one member of the board or all of the members of the town board submit the entire matter to the Town of Queens Ethics Board and request an ethics advisory opinion. As stated clearly in the Town of Queens Town Code, Section 16-8 advisory opinions, the Board of Ethics established hereunder shall render advisory opinions to town employees on written request and upon request of the town board make recommendations to such town board as to any amendments of this chapter. The opinions of the Board of Ethics shall be advisory and confidential, and in no event shall the identity of the town employee be disclosed except to authorized persons and agencies. Such opinion shall be on the advice of counsel employed by the Board of Ethics, or, if none, of the town attorney, end quote. Thank you for your prompt attention to this matter. Please feel free to contact me should you have any questions or concerns. And attached is the resolution, the copies of Facebook posts, and the social media policy. I'm also on that topic. A couple meetings ago, I had some concerns regarding the meeting. We're all paid town board members, but we all have lives outside of this meeting room. So some of us have day jobs, some have caring responsibilities, some commit to volunteering, but we all have families and we all take time for vacation. I made this board aware of an upcoming travel that I had, and I would not be here for a particular meeting, but we all try to make time to accommodate, to be accommodating and considerate. So from time to time, meetings are changed, rescheduled agendas are rearranged, and to make sure that there's a quorum for conducting business. My absence at the September 3rd meeting did not prevent a quorum when Mr. Donnelly publicly attempted to shame me the next meeting for enjoying my fishing trip when I should have been here for doing town business. He was frustrated as he did not receive the minimum number of board members within that quorum to agree to his resolution. A resolution that is not without serious concern and needed serious discussion in front of the community, with all possible decisions remaining on the table for consideration. Has he ever, publicly said anything to you, Mr. Stott or Ms. Bruno, about you guys taking time off for vacation after you guys took time off? About anything getting done, business getting done? I didn't know that, so, but whatever. After returning from my trip and prior to the public hearing where I was chastised, along with, again, Councilmember Schmidt about his decision during that meeting when I was absent, Mr. Donnelly didn't even reach out to me to discuss that he wanted to have me consider the matter at the next meeting that I was at and offered me no chance to review or prepare to have this discussion. So as in many instances over the last several months, the supervisor's office waits to the last possible minute, sometimes at the meeting with no notice, and expects decisions to be made of vital financial importance without any opportunity to get any reasonable background or factual data. I felt there was no other responsible option for me to vote no at the time, based upon that information. This is just a continued example of our supervisor's effective and often misguided communication style, where he withholds and cherry picks how information he releases and disseminates to us, and then attempts to ridicule us publicly when he does not get to ridicule those who do not see his vision. And it seems to be continuing, even tonight, to Mr. Schmidt and even Ms. Bruno about her decision to pass that grant. So what I'm asking is that, since I can't make the complaint to Mr. Donnelly, is that Deputy Supervisor Stott put this complaint in front of the Ethics Review Board. And to be honest with you, I really would like to look at the workplace violence policy, because his bullying behavior to board members, to the community, to us in the back room, really should be looked at. And and if I have to make a motion to, it only takes one employee to ask for an ethics board review, but I'll make a motion if the board wants to make a decision as a board to put this in front of an ethics review, if that's what you want to do. So again, I, Councilman Hotel, I make a motion that this board ask for an advisory opinion of this town ethics board regarding the information received in Mr. McHugh's letter regarding the information about Supervisor Donnelly's misuse of the town social media policy and the Facebook page.
I'll second it.
For discussion, I would like to, you just read a lot. I would like to review the town's policy, the ethics committee, and just gain more information before I bring something like this to the ethics board. I'm not saying no, I'm just saying I want to review it more and look into the ethics committee and see exactly what sort of things are brought to it.
For discussion further, you guys can all say no and vote against it. Sure. It just takes one person to make the complaint, and it can go forward. We have a second. Let's have a vote and see who's willing to go forward with this.
Is there any other discussion before we proceed with the vote?
Yes, I'd like to say something, because Mr. Hoteling, after that meeting that you voted down the resolution, I was upset with you. You even stood right there. You said to me that if he hadn't said to you, how was your fishing trip, you would have voted for that resolution.
I said I would consider.
You said you would have voted for it. I heard you. I'm telling you, Ron.
I said he would have had some consideration if he didn't
Ron,
jam that down.
That's vindictive. That's what that is. That was just vengeance towards Stephen, that you voted down that resolution. And that should be known.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other discussion?
I'd like to clarify that it's not my resolution. If you think that you're attacking me, you're not. You're attacking the town. Keith just stood there and told you what's going on with the wastewater treatment plant for the last 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 months, and you're going to vote a resolution down because your feelings are hurt once again?
Actually, the motion that we're talking about is whether or not that your misuse of the town's Facebook page with your town supervisor political candidate page should be considered for an ethics review. And your violation of the policy, and you're using Stephen Fazio to post your stuff on the town's page during working hours. That's what the motion is for right now.
I just wanted to clarify that that resolution was characterized by you as mine, and it's the town's. This is the town's work that we should be doing. And if you want to attack personally, that's your prerogative. If your feelings are hurt.
My feelings aren't hurt.
Okay.
Right,
Any further discussion?
There's a motion and a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against?
Nay.
Abstain. No.
Are you abstaining or no?
No.
You're a no
I'm
vote?
saying no.
Okay.
I'm not sure I can vote on this. Is
All right, so then I'll just
legal matter.
So then I'll just submit a written request, as an employee for the review for the ethics review to you to have it done. So it's reviewed either by the ethics board, whoever's on our ethics board now. Because it only just takes one person to have an ethics, employee to file that. So, but now we know everybody stands whether or not, we think that our supervisor's misusing our Facebook page.
That's
then-
not
Hold on.
where everybody stands.
For
I just
record-
said, can
for
I
record
look at more
keeping-
information?
For record-keeping purposes, is Mr. Donnelly voting?
I think you had 2 in favor, 2 against, and
Correct.
1 abstention.
You're an abstention? You're abstaining?
I don't think he can,
Just did,
it's about him.
He says he's, can he?
Oh, okay.
He was asking council.
Yeah, okay, so, Candace forwarded this to me at about 4 o'clock, I appreciate that. I really haven't looked into it.
I mean, I think,
I mean, if you're willing to abstain, I guess that's what I probably would do. So you've got,
I would absolutely talk to the ethics board. I think that's what they're there for.
so are you in favor? Then, of Mr.
Once
Hoteling's
again,
motion?
Mr. Holding said one person could just bring it forward, so
That-
I don't understand what we're voting on.
Because there's a motion on the table, there's a second, so for just record-keeping purposes, I need to know
What's the motion for?
to have
To have-
Mr. Stott as the deputy supervisor bring this application to the Board of Ethics.
For record, I vote no.
With that being said, my second motion will be to make a motion that until the town ethics board can make this review, whether with ethics board or with the town attorney, that Mr. Fazio be removed from the town of Queens Facebook page and that all posts go through the town clerk's office, pending the review of the ethics board and the decision of the ethics board, and that all personal posts at this time be removed.
I'll second that motion. For discussion, so my question is, Supervisor, who has administrative access rights to that Town of Queens Facebook page?
I believe the clerk and the confidential secretary. Is there, does Cheryl have, the town clerk's office?
So
I do personally.
it's Mr. Fazio and Ms. McHugh. All right, so there's a motion and a second. Anybody, any other discussion?
You know, for discussion, I just want to review the facts more, and before I make any decision to remove Mr. Fazio and whatever else Ron said. You know,
Who's this Mr. Fazio?
the confidential secretary to the supervisor.
So you shouldn't be on there.
Typically, they are. There should be 2 people. I need to post notices, and usually the secretary has that ability as well. Doesn't have to be though.
Again, obviously, this was planned, and I didn't know about it. Linda didn't know about it. Stephen didn't know about it. So when we talk about transparency,
How is it planned?
well, I mean, obviously, you read a whole,
He read a letter that we were all,
I was in a.
and he had a typed up personal one
it was,
too. I
it
mean,
was put in our mailbox.
but he didn't.
I got my copy.
I didn't get a copy.
All right, you're right.
It's in the mailbox.
You're right. It was
Tonight?
Yeah.
off the cuff. It was off the cuff.
And it's stamped into the clerk's office September 25th, 2025.
I just got
So
it.
we all have access to it.
Right, but I just got it probably
I just got it
10
too.
minutes before the
So
meeting.
nothing was pre-planned. In this motion practice, there's no, it's just a verbal motion. How can you say it's pre-planned?
Maybe it's not, yeah.
So you're suggesting to table it?
That's
for
what it
the
is.
review?
Well, that's my discussion.
No, there's a
We're
motion
gonna
and
call
a
for a
second,
vote, so.
similar to what you did earlier, there's a motion pending, so you could act on it. If the majority wanted to table it, I suppose, similar to what you did earlier today, you could have a motion and a second to table it.
I make a motion to table. The first motion.
You can't make a
Oh,
motion.
so-
You can't table the first, we already voted on it and it's already voted no.
So I'm making a motion to table what? Sorry.
I think
The second
I
motion.
think the most recent motion had to do with Mr. Fazio's access to certain
Facebook.
websites pending a possible referral to the ethics committee and some potential determination by that committee.
Okay.
That's my understanding of the motion that was made.
And what could we possibly table? That?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, just like we've done before.
All right.
If there's a motion and a second and a favorable voting.
Why would you not vote on that? I mean, you're just saying this man shouldn't be putting stuff on there, shouldn't be allowed to be on that.
I would personally like to talk to people and see, look into the matter before I vote on taking people's privileges away.
It would be helpful to actually look at the ethics
Yeah, I mean,
To see what, if any, action should be taken when an allegation has been made but not yet substantiated, in terms of how you affect the operation of an office and anything. I don't know what the answer to that question is, but it strikes me you should look at that before you take an action.
That's what I said in the beginning, yes.
So I second your motion to table.
Okay.
All right, so Scott made a motion to table, Donnelly second. Any other discussion about the tabling of the event?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against?
Nay.
Nay.
All right, so the second motion is tabled.
Any further public comment?
Yes. Short one. Short two. On the contract, to the contractor, do we have a time is of the essence?
Yeah, there's liquidated damages after December 15th.
Pardon me?
There are liquidated damages in the contract for after December 15th.
So that means, Barb, like, if they're not done by December 15th, I think it's like $1,000 a day they have to pay. So they're sort of held to the fire by that date.
It brought to my attention the other day that you want the seniors or something to go up to the church. This is what I was told.
Okay.
Is that true?
Is there a question?
It's a
Do you
question.
want the seniors to go to the church?
It's a statement and a question. Is it true?
The seniors, they're probably
Do-
talking about Grace, use of Grace Methodist.
I had a
Church.
meeting with the Board of Grace Methodist Church on Sunday. Yes.
And it's true you want the seniors to go up there?
No, they didn't ask.
There's a project on the table, a multi-year project that I'm pulling to, just in discussions with nonprofits.
Did the rest of the board go with you?
No, this is so once again, let's just clarify a bit for the supervisor's job. So we have the CFO who does economic strategies, and then we have the supervisor who does community strategies. That's pulling projects together. If you see a project, people come into my office, for instance, and they have a project, they have an idea. Well, we start to pull it together if it's an idea that makes sense that we think will build community. It also, if there is something needed, like senior housing, like affordable housing, everything that you could think of, like our sewer, all these huge projects that need to get done, I start to pull, my office pulls them together.
So you would be acting alone on this?
No. I'm in communication. It's in a very nascent stage. There was an idea that was brought to me, and then I'm seeing how feasible it is. I'm talking to the parties involved. That would be Grace Methodist Church, because it's not financially viable for them anymore, and they could be homeless. What's that building going to happen? That building. We have a senior issue problem. Even though I went to Seville, I went there before I was even in office. So yeah, I did act on my own to pull in Liberty to have something done so that Seville housing would have heat and air conditioning. So no solution is going to be perfect. So we'll have, yes, this looks ugly. And so my first concern is I had an email from a resident that said, my dad lives there and he doesn't have any heat. So they had the big boiler out front for months and months and months, and it was unsustainable. They were running out of money, $15,000 every month. You have to do something. So that's what we did, and that solved that problem. But that building's not perfect, and it was never meant for that.
My question, Steve, is this.
So we have to have senior housing, and I am pulling. I'm attempting to. It could all fall
But
apart.
you don't go to the rest of the members and say, look, the church wants me to come up there and talk to them about.
I think it's such an infancy stage that.
And the other thing is, now I hear the Civic Center, they're raising the price so much that the people are not gonna be able to afford it.
So yeah, there's a lot of rumors swirling around. So as people come into my office and projects develop, yes, I start moving forward as those projects. I try to develop those projects, and then I try to figure out how my guys are going to get that project done. So that's where the board.
We can have a pilot program, right?
Right. So we don't have any idea of funds or money or what it's going to take right now. It's the very beginning. I've only had 2 meetings so far.
My suggestion is, let's take care of Seville first before we get involved with another, because we got this, we got Seville.
Yeah, you're correct.
Right.
There are lots of projects on the table.
Right.
That's why I don't get out of the office sometimes until 6 o'clock. That's why I work through lunch.
That's why you get paid big bucks.
That's why I get the big $45,000 a year. And they said, why are you, I said, this is a multi-year project. They go, well, there's 6 weeks to election. I'm like, what am I gonna do? Not work? I'm not gonna sit in the office and not work. I just work. That's it.
Anybody
Yes,
else?
I'm good at it.
Good evening, Board. I just have a few questions for you, so keep it short because it's getting late. There was a gas leak today on Mountain Road Extension in the village, basically in the community. And I was just wondering if the town board knew what was the results of that gas leak. Was it coming from the bus garage? Was it coming from the tanks at Nolan Propane?
It was.
What was it?
Mr. Nolan came down to our office. There was a big cloud. We went out, we could smell propane. He came in and told us that there was a quick hose and a valve leak. In our office, yeah, got kind of stinked up.
So
But
it was a valve leak on one of those tanks?
yeah, some sort of a hose, he explained.
And was that repaired or was there any
Yeah,
investigation as far as the findings? So the findings was there was a gas leak in one of the valves.
Yeah, there was no, I don't think there was any EPA or anybody that investigated it. There
Okay,
was,
so-
The fire department came, didn't they? Didn't the fire department come?
yeah, I think somebody, did Sandy call?
Yeah, the fire department was there.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, was it, is there an investigation being done and what to correct it to make sure that doesn't happen again? Because it was pretty bad, very detrimental to people's health as well.
Yeah, we were worried about that because it was in our office for ages. We had to
Yeah,
pull a fan
exactly.
out to air out the offices.
So the fire department be following up with anybody as far as investigation and the results, how that is gonna be repaired so it doesn't happen again?
Yeah, that might be a question for the fire department. I'm not sure how they,
Okay, so
if they
who would
found.
I follow up with, Steve, to find out about that? Because I wanna make sure this doesn't happen again. I mean, one spark,
No,
thank God it was raining, but it
Right.
could have been detrimental to the whole, many people and many buildings.
Right.
We all know that.
yeah.
I mean, probably Santi would be the best, would be a wealth of knowledge. Fire department and also too, Nolan, you said did go to talk to Santi and Jason, right?
Well, he came into our office.
Or your office, yeah, so,
Asked if we were okay.
so.
Could anybody from the board follow up with the fire department and get back to me so I can share with the members on my road? Or it should be put out there, because I'm sure a lot of other people have questions. There was a lot of people out there that smelled it, and,
Oh, yeah,
All
I'll check
right,
it.
Mike will take the lead on that.
Mike, you on that?
I'll be on it, I'll let you know.
I got your number. Well, it'll be, okay, so, all right. You heard this before, you're gonna hear it again. I just have a question. Where are we at with the trucks on Mountain Road Extension? I'm still seeing 100 go by every day. Has there been, you all see me here maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Nothing's really happened. And now, since Carver left, at least I was starting to get some kind of work platform with Carver, but they're no longer there. Okay, now I'm dealing with Heidelberg, and I don't know, I need to get a contact of who I can deal with Heidelberg, because the trucks are speeding, right? They're not covered. Most of them are, but there's times not covered, and we're still seeing amounts of dust. So where are we at, Steve?
I'm gonna have to, Rich, how much information?
The supervisor has a meeting scheduled with,
Both Amrise and.
representative of, I wanna say Holtzman, but Amrise and Heidelberg next week, to again raise the concerns. We had a meeting with them earlier this year. I think there's been email attempts to get some additional follow-up from them and get a meeting over the past several months, and we finally have gotten a date that they've agreed to next week, and the mayor's participating as well, because it's a concern for the villages.
And that's a meeting to talk about some concessions or reducing the truck traffic, maybe go back to Jarvis Road, rebuild that, you know, I mean, there has to be some concession. You know, I've been dealing with this for 10 years. Time goes by flying, and nothing's really happened. Nothing.
Yeah,
Still have the dust, still have the speed and traffic.
as Rich said, our last communication is, I wrote a letter that, had the mayor on it because I thought the town and the village working together would be stronger. So that we could have their input and,
Okay.
and move forward. It's difficult, I think, to talk about because once again, when you're in negotiations, whether it's Hillcrest or truck traffic or a $100 million substation, you're in negotiations. So I can tell you that we're working towards it.
Okay, so that meeting is still scheduled for next week, sir? All right, thank you. And I really, if someone could just email me or text me or call me, I'd like to know who, you know, I had Bill Cool from Carver, but he's retired, and he stopped by my house once a week, and we kept, you know, now I don't know who to talk to. So when I see a truck going by uncovered, I would call Bill. When I see the truck going by speeding, I would call Bill, and he would jump right on it, take care of it. I don't know who to talk to anymore with Heidelberg. So if anybody has any contact information, share with me, please, so I can contact them and just, you know, have a sit down.
Yeah.
What was who was your contact before?
Bill Cool from Carver.
Okay, thank you.
I think I'm saying his last name.
Yeah.
K-U-H-L, something like
Okay.
that. Yeah. All right, this is for the chief. You talked about e-bikes earlier, okay? I have an e-bike. I'm riding around town. I'm new at it, but I think I'm doing everything right. Because I rode motorcycles for 20 years, so I ride my e-bike like a motorcycle.
How fast
I
is
wear
it?
my high vis, I wear my helmet, all that stuff. But you said you were gonna put something on your website?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to Candace for our town website, and I'll put it on the police department so you can reference that. It's this grid that shows, you know, all the different e-bike types out there.
Uh-huh.
And not all e-bikes are e-bikes. Do you get pedals on yours?
Oh, yeah, my wife made sure of that.
Well, you got an e-bike then.
No, I have an e-bike, but it has a little thing. I can do up
Yeah.
to 30 miles per hour, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So this thing will tell you what you, and you obviously are overstepping. You've got a license, you registered thing. It depends on how fast it goes. If you just refer to this, we'll put it out
Okay.
on the thing tomorrow.
You could have my copy right here.
I don't want to see in the police blotter, okay, Mr. Jones?
Well, I'm sure you're not riding on the sidewalks, are you, Robert?
No, well, I did the other day.
Uh-oh.
Because I saw a big truck coming behind me in my mirror, so I said I better scoot over. Last question, does the community, RCS community, this area, have any e-bike trails? Like anything up in Geralman Park or anywhere, anything like that?
Dan might know. Dan, no?
Where?
Dan says no.
No. Dan, you gotta get on that, all right?
What about some bike lanes, Dan?
Thank you, everyone.
Roads aren't really wide enough for bike lanes. I gotta get on.
Hi,
Hello?
my name's April Springer. I've been a resident since 2009. Part of the reason why I started coming to these meetings is because I wanted to be more involved and informed. What was alarming to me is when I came and Miss Bruno, you've talked to me, Mr. Schmidt, Scott, hoteling, and Mr. Donnelly, you not one time in all of the meetings I've attended ever even communicated. So that is what we're getting back onto as far as communication. As for the fact of with Dan, if I'm a resident and I email you, are you gonna ignore my email? I mean, I don't think your answer to an employee that's trying to communicate a question is adequate. Do you have an answer for why you wouldn't respond to someone that's trying to communicate with you about questions that's going on within your town?
Do you have a specific example? I'm not sure what I communicate.
As far as the communication with numbers and information, I've been here a number of times. And when you've spoken, you state certain numbers and then they change. Or the communication with someone else, it gets sent to someone else. It's someone else's fault. So what is your accountability into a checks and balances within the town?
I'm not sure your question. Can you clarify that?
Can you give an example of what you mean?
So the example is the reason why I started attending these meetings is because of how your conduct is unprofessional in regards to the board. And as a community member, it's disrespectful and it's not a good representation for us in a community because it feels divided. And this isn't a political statement because I'm not involved with any politics. I'm just a town resident observing things that I don't really think is right. And it takes one person for me to stand here to kind of hold you accountable and ask you those questions, and you keep on going round and round and not answering it. So that's my statement.
Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Any further questions or, statements?
Back to the sweeper. I'm done. I'm out. Okay? That's you guys. Mike answered. Are you contacting them about the sweeper? Because I've called them several times and said, don't bring the sweeper. I spoke to the chief. I spoke to Mr. Jailson. I said, call the police and arrest them. I'm not the enforcement guy here. I just maintain the roads. So this is on you guys. Call somebody and tell them to get rid of the sweeper, right? Agree? Don't agree? Look at the ceiling.
I think you're right, Dan. I mean, the email, I think the last time we talked, you sent emails to Ms. Geraldson and.
Yeah, I'm trying because she's reaching out to me asking for help.
And who are you contacting?
Did you call?
Heidelberg.
No, who exactly?
That Bill Cool, but he's retired.
I thought he worked for Carver.
Yeah, well, that's who I called.
That's who you had been talking to?
I called him because I had him as a contact. And I said, hey, I don't know whose sweeper it is or who's in charge, but we needed to go away, and then it went away, and then it come back.
There is no sweeper now, right?
No, there is.
Sweeper last week.
Last week, yeah.
Sweeper with
There's videos.
Is there a wet sweeper going on?
I don't think so, but I'm just saying, I want you guys to do something, I'm done with it, but.
Based upon the video, it's a Canada sweeper.
Well, I mean, obviously you guys got the email from my wife about the candidate sweeper out in front of the house, letting it run for like 2 minutes, just spilling dust all over the place out in front of our house. So this is what it is. No one wants to take, everybody keeps passing the buck. No one knows who Canada is owned by. We all know Carver owns it. He didn't give it up. It's, but are they just laughing in our face because he doesn't have a contract with Heidelberg to be on the road, and he doesn't have a contract with the town to be on the road. So there's no reason for him to be there, but he keeps coming back. Like you said, Dan called him, told him not to come back. He left, but he comes back.
How do you spell Canada?
Canady.
Rich, I've also been getting the emails as the Clean Air Coalition. We have photographs of the sweeper with the name on it. So you can get that.
But the thing is like Dan said, he calls up, tells him not to come back, but he keeps coming back, and he just sits out there. Like for a while there, he was starting at right in front of the house and going up the hill. Then when Dan told him not to come back, then he started going up the hill halfway and going up, and then coming all the way back down. And then, like I said, you got the videos that my wife sends them to DEC.
I just can't open her videos.
I know. Our internet doesn't work the greatest, and so she sends them like 10 times. And
Well, she sends it, and in whatever format she sends, I can't open on my phone.
well, so
I can open them on the computer.
Yeah, so.
we're not savvy about that, neither is she, so it makes it a little tough. But I'm just saying, you know, because I didn't know if I should call the chief and say, hey, next time the guy, it's not the driver's fault that you have him to come up there to police to arrest the guy for being there, but what is the next avenue? Because whoever owns that company is just like, either they're doing it because we're bitching and complaining about the dust, so they just come down and do it just to be, you know, like, hey, you know, you can't do nothing to me, you know, and they just do it, you know, because that's what it seems like. It's just they do it on purpose, you know.
Well, they're getting paid by somebody to do it. So who are they getting paid from? And hopefully, you know, Keith, I would think on the next week when Mr. Donnelly, Mr. Riley, and the mayor and Mr. Biscone probably, when they sort of meet there and meet Heidelberg and Wholesome, maybe they can shed some light on the whole situation. I would think.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
But you know, it just seems hectic that they're
Okay. Chief.
Oh.
Is there an arrangement coming in?
Good guys. If at all possible, need to have a quick executive session.
I know, we can go back there.
I have something to say before we do that. I'll make it quick, I promise. So to remind the board that workplace violence was brought up. And it's something you should probably address because you still have yet to fully establish a workplace violence committee, as you have tried to use the policy in the past and ineffectively done it because you don't know the policy. So you may want to actually go about helping your employees by creating a policy.
So that policy exists around, I don't know if you remember this, but I actually had 5 people that wanted to be on it. And I think you wanted to reach out and find other people. You were asking who picked the people that wanted to volunteer to be on the Workplace Violence Committee. And it sort of stopped the project dead because you never got back to us with who you wanted to have. I think you sent it in an email. There's a file, there's a workplace violence policy, and the 5 people that want to be on it, I believe it was Linda Ziegler, Sandy, I think Stephanie was on the old one. There's 5 though, and I think it's very important. It's one of the things that we talked about.
But it's been over 6 months since it's
Probably
been
last
discussed.
year.
Mr. Donnelly was, you know, pretty pressing on that, and it just sort of between whatever we were doing, just sort of lost steam. And I think we should revisit it and find members to put on it.
Absolutely.
And go forward.
Sure.
So I think best practice. Yeah.
Any further comment from the residents? Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss a FOIL appeal where a decision will be made by.
We're gonna have a legal discussion in executive session. We may come out of executive session and actually take action on that FOIL appeal.
If you want to hang out.
There's a sensitivity to it time-wise, so.
Yeah.
Okay. I second that.
All in favor?
Aye. Is anybody going to stay until we come back out?
Well, I have to.
They're like 8:35. Nah, we're good.